Look up. That could have been icing there. Dorothea springs free.
Walker scoops it up. Speeding. Jackson Blake. Speeding.
He's got 50. They're going at it. He's got 50.
The Jason Gregor Show.
They are going at it. He's got 15 in the game. Wendy got a piece.
On Sports 1440.
Let's look up. That could have been icing there. Dorothea springs free.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Speeding through center. Walker in over the line. Got it for Hall. Hall, strong move coming in toward the net.
Well, a terrific Tuesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. It's always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where tonight, Lotto Max, $65 million with 8 Max Millions and 65 prizes of 100,000. So you do all the math between all that. That's like 79 mil. You got an opportunity. So good luck at PlayAlberta.ca. And we have lots and lots to discuss. NHL playoffs continuing on. They're not disappointing you. Overtime last night between the Flyers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Flyers had the 2-0 lead. They scored 2 goals in 39 seconds in the first period. But, man, look at the breakaways they missed. Couturier, breakaway in the third. Konechny, breakaway in overtime. Power play in overtime. And they couldn't bury it. Meanwhile, Vegas comes up with the 3-1 win over Anaheim. Hey, they don't give up a power play goal. Look what happens. And they get an empty netter from Marner late, but it's a 2-1 game. Brett Howden continues to roll his 5th goal of the season for Vegas. And, Carter Hart was pretty good in that game. The Ducks outshot Vegas 34-22. Barbashev was very adamant. He didn't think his team played very well, and they kind of got away with one. So, see what happens. Tonight, playoffs continue on. Only one game, Minnesota at Colorado. Now, will we see 15 goals again? Highly doubtful, but I think we're going to see some chances, and we will see a new goaltender, Gustafsson, getting the start tonight for the Minnesota Wild. And then finally tomorrow, Buffalo and Montreal will begin that series in Buffalo. They play Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So no extra days off between them. The Flyers and the Hurricanes will now have an extra day off until they get to Thursday's game. And then if there's a game 7, they'll have 2 days off between that game as well. Meanwhile, this Minnesota-Colorado series are going to go every second day. Anaheim and Vegas, the same thing. So we'll get kind of into a rhythm a little bit. NBA playoffs continue on, and really not overly competitive last night, I didn't think, as the Knicks absolutely destroyed the 76ers 137-98. But the T-Wolves, how about that game? Might have to get Declan's thoughts on it. Don't sleep on the T-Wolves, man. They go into San Antonio. This was after they knocked off the Nuggets. Now they beat the Spurs 104-102. And they're winning really with just like a kind of complete team effort. Lots of guys in double digits. Julius Randle led the way with 21 points. The Ant-Man, and he only played 25 minutes, so he's still obviously not 100%. And he had 18. Terrence Shannon Jr., as well as Jaden McDaniels, each with 16. And then Naz Reid and Mike Conley, each with 12. So, you look at the Spurs side of it, they would like a little bit more offense. No question about it. Wembanyama only had 11 points. He was 0 for 8 from three-point range last night, 5 for 15 from the floor. The Spurs just did not shoot the ball very well at all. Like, read these numbers. Vassell, 5 for 11. Now, Champagne, he was 7 of 12, not bad. Wembanyama, 5 of 17. Fox, 5 of 14. Dylan Harper, not bad, 7 of 13. But your big guys, when they're shooting that poor, not going to score. It's just how it works, man. Fox and Wembanyama combined to go 0 for 12 from beyond the arc. So tough to win that way. They will be better, I would think, in game 2. We will have lots on the Edmonton Oilers to discuss today. Yesterday, we got some of Leon Draisaitl. Today, we're going to go through Stan Bowman's comments. And because I think it's always good. Sometimes you might have heard one snippet. You didn't hear all of it. It doesn't give you the whole kind of focus. I think on the Oilers this week, there's lots to discuss for that team moving forward. And I honestly believe that rash decisions, not the strategy for them. Now, the good news is we don't have to talk about the what-if game. I know there was lots of Oilers fans who are like, oh, my God, they could maybe get John Cooper. John Cooper's going to leave Tampa. And what did I say yesterday, Cons? Why the hell would Tampa Bay move on from John Cooper? Like, why? Why would they do it? The only way John Cooper is leaving Tampa anytime soon is if he chooses to leave. And the other thing is, like, John Cooper's great coach right now. But look at his career when he took over Tampa Bay. Right? Lost in the first round his first year in 2014 as a coach. Then they went to the Cup final, lost in 15. Then they made the third round in 16. Then they missed the playoffs in 2017. Back to the third round in 2018. Then they had that record-breaking, at the time, 2019 season where they won 62 games. Lost in the first round. Got swept, actually, in the first round, which was wild. Then they won the Cup. So there's a missed playoff in there. There's a sweep in the first round. There's another loss in the first round. And they didn't fire him. Chris Knobloch's been to 2 Stanley Cup finals, lost in the first round when all 4 centers on his team were hurt. 2 of them played with fractures. One was coming off a MCL tear. And the other one couldn't even play. Got hurt 2 minutes into the game. So, well, not 2 minutes into the game. He had played 2 minutes in the game 1. And so the coach loses. And I'm not saying that Chris Knobloch is perfect. No. But give him the opportunity to grow and develop. John Cooper didn't have instant success. He didn't. It takes some. You're going to learn. Right? There's lots of opportunities to learn as a head coach. And I would think that Chris Knobloch, sometimes, you can take better lessons from learning and coming up well short of your goal sometimes. And I think that's what he'll use the offseason for. Now, the good news for Knobloch is I believe that there's going to be at least one change in the coaching staff. I can't envision how Mark Stewart comes back. Just when you look at everything. So he got demoted. Right. First of all, he got promoted, took over running the defense, and he had the penalty kill. And then Paul Coffey came back, and he lost running the defense. Remained running the penalty kill, and we all know what happened in the penalty kill. And this was a whole new system that they put in place under his watch. So, and I know he was frustrated when he got demoted. Who wouldn't be? I don't know if anybody out there has been at a job where you got demoted to see where you'd be. Like, I've never been in a job where I got demoted. So I don't know how it would feel, but I'm guessing you wouldn't be happy. You have responsibility and suddenly you don't have the same responsibility. So, you're getting paid the same. But if you got pride in your job, and especially if you like it, like, I guess if you get demoted from a job that sucks, you're like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. Great. Well, that's not this situation, right? It's a little different. So I don't see how Stewart comes back. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I haven't, to be honest, like, the season's pretty fresh. I haven't dug into anything on that. That's just me kind of looking at it from experience, 20 plus years doing it and seeing the tea leaves. I know for a fact Stewart wasn't happy with it when it occurred. So I would understand that move. And you're now entering kind of the coaching hiring cycle, right? All the coaches, the best coaches are available. If you want assistant coaches, the best ones are available now. Whereas last year, after the Stanley Cup final, then Glenn Gallison got the job for Dallas. And now you're into July. You have a shorter pool, a shallower pool to choose from. So that'll be the advantage for Knobloch, to look and say, okay, what do we learn? What's the strength of our coaching staff? Maybe what's the weakness of our coaching staff? Do we need this type of coach? Obviously you're probably going to want someone to run the defense. I can't get a read on Paul Coffey. My gut tells me that he won't be back. I could be wrong. That's just kind of what my gut tells me. And not because, just for a variety of different reasons, right? Like, he left last year, then he came back. Now maybe he'll stay. Easily could. I honestly don't have a read on that. So I think there'll be one change, possibly 2 additions to the coaching staff. Because if Paul Coffey doesn't come back, they need to replace him. Why not have more experience on your bench? I think that can be a benefit for sure. So that's what I see there. If it's me, I'm the GM, I'm not firing the head coach. I don't see the reason to. And honestly, I know this might not be sexy for some fans. I wouldn't fire Stan Bowman either. I don't see why. Stan Bowman has been on the job for not even 2 years yet, right? Because he got hired in July of 2024. And he does have experience in the situation he's in right now. So when he was in Chicago, he got hired his first year. They went to the Cup final. Now, the difference is they won it. Edmonton lost it. But during the Cup final, they got a good team. Then the next year in Chicago, they made the playoffs, lost in the first round, just like the Oilers did. Now, the difference was Chicago that year didn't have their 4 centers hurt. Then they made it. They won the Cup in 2013. They won it again in 2015. He had to kind of rebuild a Stanley Cup roster. And that's what he's got to do here. The Oilers were a Stanley Cup finalist 2 years in a row. It's a good roster. You got to retool some things. So now we look at the roster. And if we go through the players on who's coming back, who's not. Now, I can't say for certain just because guys are under contract if they're coming back, because I get a sneak. This is talking to a lot of people in the hockey world. I think there's going to be a fair amount of trades this offseason. So now guys I know aren't getting traded. Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, I don't think is getting traded. I don't see why they would. Nugent Hopkins, I don't think so. Trent Frederick, unlikely. Podkolzin, no chance he's getting traded. Matt Savoy, highly doubtful. Josh Szymanski, probably not. But I wouldn't rule it out just because, you can trade away a young player who's not that established yet if you think you're getting something way better. It's possible. Matthias Janmark, could he get traded? Yes. I think they like Matthias Janmark's been playing with shoulder injury now for a year and a half. And he couldn't make many plays last year. The one advantage Janmark has is he's a great skater. He's a smart player. And he's proven in the playoffs he can elevate his game. He doesn't shrink away when the games get tougher. Right? He's actually been pretty good in the playoffs. So I could see him at 1.45. You know what? He can play left wing. He can play right wing. He's versatile. I could see him coming back. So those on defense, Evan Bouchard's going nowhere. Matthias Ekholm, I don't think is going anywhere. Jake Wallman, unlikely. Darnell Nurse, possible. Again, though, I'm not trading Darnell Nurse just for the sake of trading him. I'm not just giving him away, because then you're going to be searching for a minute-need defenseman. And there's not a lot that you can just replace him with for free. So if you're going to trade Nurse, it's got to be for a player that's going to play 19 plus minutes. Right? Different player, fine. But that's what it has to be. You can't just give him away. Then you're searching, because Wallman misses 20 to 25 games. That's kind of his MO. So hopefully that changes, right? Maybe he'll be Brent Burns. It's funny. Go back and look at Brent Burns' first 6-7 years in the NHL. And then all of a sudden the guy was like, I don't get hurt anymore. And he literally hasn't missed a game since. It's crazy. But he missed games early in his career. Now, not to the level of Wallman, but, I think Wallman should be able to come into training camp next year in better conditioning and shape than he was last year. He's not, that's why I made sure to ask Stan Bowman that question about injuries and anybody carrying over, and he doesn't see it. So, like Jack Roslovic, I'd be surprised if he's back. Adam Henrique, I'd be surprised if he's back. And Roslovic simply because he's going to probably get some bigger offers than Edmonton's willing to pay. And sadly for him, 51 playoff games, 3 playoff goals. It's not great. Kasperi Kapanen, I'd re-sign him. I think Kapanen probably comes in around anywhere from 2.2 mil to 2.3, somewhere around there, because he doesn't have big enough numbers. He was very good in the playoffs. But that's kind of where I see Kapanen. Multi-year deal, 2.3, somewhere around there. I think Edmonton would gladly have him. Now, Max Jones. They could bring him back, but you can't bring everybody back, right? And so Henrique's not back. Roslovic isn't back. I think Roslovic's kind of going to get replaced, at least in the top 9. Opportunity is going to be there for a guy like Isaac Howard. So that's where I think that's an internal one. Curtis Lazar, yeah, I don't know, right? Like Janmark wasn't there. Janmark comes back, so he kind of takes somebody's spot, right? Curtis Lazar, for a 1-year deal at league minimum, Curtis Lazar, he was fine. I had no issue with him at all. He actually produced in the limited minutes he played, and in the playoffs, he led the Oilers in penalties drawn. Like he was fine. He's a right shot. He can win some faceoffs for you. They didn't use him on the penalty kill though, so that's where I'm kind of like, if he's not on the penalty kill, is he playing enough? Right? Colton Dock is a no-brainer for me. He's going to come back. So they'll move some guys. Now I looked up free agent goalies today for fun, and I'm telling you, the free agent list for goaltenders is not great. Here's the list of free agent goalies for you. You have Stuart Skinner, Connor Ingram, Danil Tarasov, Yuri Patera, Sergei Bobrovsky, Peter Mrazek, Lauren Brossoit, Ivan Fedotov. Now, Freddie Anderson, but something tells me in Carolina they'll sign him before free agency comes. Cam Talbot, Vitek Vanacek, and like even Danil Tarasov, I mentioned him. I think Florida signs him before July 1st. And then there's Calvin Pickard and David Rich. Calvin Pickard, I do not expect to be back with the Edmonton Oilers. So that's kind of how we go. So we'll see what changes they do. Hey, Gregor, why would Bruce Cassidy not be better than Knobloch? From John. Well, I can't say he wouldn't be better, but I can't say it's a guarantee he will be better either. Right? You have to ask the question, why does he have such a short shelf life? Right? Fair question. Why? So they won. And when a coach wins, lots of times you get a longer shelf life. Didn't happen in Vegas. Now it's Vegas. But I've heard from various players he can be a really hard coach and he can wear on guys. Now he's had success. Sure. But I don't I can't say with certainty. I can see how people say, hey, I'd bring in Bruce Cassidy. Okay. Fine. But if you look at Bruce Cassidy's first few years of his career and look at Chris Knobloch's first few years of his career, Chris Knobloch's had a more successful start to his career than Bruce Cassidy did. Bruce Cassidy won later in his career, right? So does that mean he's better? I'm a little leery of bringing in a guy who wears out his welcome that quickly and has done it in multiple places. That's just me. Everybody else can disagree. That's how I view it. So, hey, Gregor, why is the NHL not a development for players, but is for coaching? Coach Knobloch isn't assertive, aggressive, or defensive, which we need more of. From Tim. Well, I know how you can say he isn't aggressive, isn't defensive. Tim, do you not see what happened when he took over the Edmonton Oilers? They were a tire fire. He takes over, and that regular season, 69 games, Stuart Skinner, top 7 in save percentage, goals against average, goals saved above expected. The Oilers were a top 5 defensive team and a top 5 offensive team. How can you claim they weren't defensive? Now, this year they didn't play great defensively. I would agree. But I don't know if it's just the coach. Draisaitl even said he didn't like his defensive game. Now, I don't think Chris Knobloch had as good of a year this year as he had in his first 2 years. I think that's fair. But this is my analogy. When you have a 35 to 40 goal scorer, comes in, boom, 37 goals. Then he scores 36 goals. And then he drops down to 22 goals. Do you say, you know what? I got to get rid of him? Or do you think, hey, he's got potential to be a 36 goal scorer again? How's it different than a coach? Why can't Chris Knobloch learn from this season? Hey, maybe I got to be because he was assertive last year. He sat down Leon Draisaitl. It's hard to do, man. There's not many guys who bench top 5 players in the world, even for a limited time. Doesn't happen very often. So I don't know if I can agree that he wasn't assertive. He's not a guy who loses his marbles on the bench. Now, and I'd like to have that discussion with Chris to ask him, because I think he's got it in him. He just likes to remain calm. And I think sometimes, I know it sounds strange, but if you show up once, everyone's like, okay, there. Look at the coach. He got fired up for us once. And I do think there's some value. You can't do it all the time. The coaches who yell and scream all the time, lots of them don't win. They yell and scream all the time. They don't win. Just because you're outwardly emotional doesn't mean you care more. It's just that people see it. Right? And so, I kind of go back to Taylor Hall. When, people saw Taylor Hall on the ice and, young Taylor Hall, he's flying around. He's, he was very emotional. But off of the ice, Taylor Hall was actually an introvert. And so when people saw him and he was kind of shy around people, they thought he was a dick. Well, that wasn't true, but his on-ice personality was different. So I don't know if I buy that Chris Knobloch isn't aggressive. He'll tear down his team. He just doesn't do it in the public eye. He doesn't do it on the bench. He doesn't do it in press conferences. That's his choice. So that's how I view it. Hey, Gregor, are you telling me that 3 years is not enough growth? What's your approved length of time? Well, Darcy, do you think growth is just you reach 3 years and you should be maxed out on your growth? In what job is that true? I'm 20 years into my career. There's still things I keep learning. We evolve and change. We never used to have our show online. I had to figure out how to do it. There's lots of times it evolves and changes. If you think after 3 years that the coach should know exactly, go back and look at NHL players. If you think 3 years is where they're going to be at the, okay, now this guy is a complete product. No chance. No chance at all. Look at, what Leon Draisaitl had for points after 3 years in the NHL? 70. He had 25 goals in 78 games. What if someone had said, well, you know what? He's not going to get much better. Come on, that's real. That's unrealistic. Since then, 105, 110, 84 and 56 games, 110, 128, 106, 106, 97 and 65. There's no you got to be at your peak in 3 years in any career. And definitely one that doesn't involve athleticism and stamina, and because age does become a factor at some point. But as a coach, where you can learn and grow, and there's a lot of mental and knowing how to talk to players, when to do it, all those sorts of things, I think it's constant learning. Right? The best people, I think, in their jobs are the ones who are always trying to learn more. So yes, I will strongly disagree that 3 years is not remotely long enough to develop fully as a coach. And now he's been coaching before then too, but I'm talking to the NHL. He's coached in the American League, had success. He coached in Major Junior, had success, but it's different every level you get to. Now you're dealing with grown men who have huge contracts and no trade clauses, and there's lots of different dynamics that aren't there at junior. So no, I don't think he's close to being a completed project. At least I would hope not. If a coach maxes out after 3 years, that wouldn't be good. Quick break coming up on the program today. We will. Man, we got lots going on. I love it. Ed Hervey's going to join us next. Terry Ryan, Dave McCarthy. We got Struddy, Spec, DVD, Cam Tate. Loaded show for you. Stats and more. And we'll get some texts. And we'll hear from Stan Bowman. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. It feels good to know your fund goes further at home. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicks things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill, still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or business online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
Sleep is for the off-season. What off-season? Sports 1440 is live, loud, and locked 24/7. Oilers, Elks, Riverhawks, Stingers, Oil Kings. We've got your fix. Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by UL. Helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From pot lights to electrical panels, the gear you need is at ul.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. ul.ca, your partners in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Well, a little Snoop Dogg for you. Tuesday afternoon. I don't know why it is. Guy's voice is just kind of funny. There's just something about Snoop Dogg. He seems like a funny character for sure. Welcome back. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. As always, brought to you by our good friends, Play Alberta, where tonight, man, they got the Thunder. Huge favorites. Minus 15 points against the Lakers. Now, I know there's no Luka, and hey, the Thunder are really good. But, man, a playoff game with a spread of 15 points, that is wild. In the NBA, that is wild. And it might come to fruition. So, interesting. Unless you feel the Lakers can keep it close. Check it out at PlayAlberta.ca. We'll get some Jason Gregor Show odds boosts as well. But first, we're going to get to our football report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace or AC. Bundle them together, save even more. LegacyHeating.ca. And man, training camp begins this weekend. The CFL just announced some playoff changes for next season. So lots to discuss, as well as the draft. Ed Hervey, GM of the Elks, joins us once again. Ed, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Give me your thoughts on the new playoff format for next season, and what's your thoughts on it?
I mean, honestly, with respect to the playoff format, I mean it's new. I mean, basically, there's two additional teams that are included in the playoffs. It's almost like a round robin type of format. But when it was when it was discussed and we talked about it internally, my attitude was that the format is the format, and our focus is on winning our division and playing our best football late. It does put an emphasis on each game, and every game is going to matter. So that for us doesn't change week to week. We handle our business. The rest will take care of itself. But I think the most intriguing thing about the playoff format for fans and for even for teams, I think there's 2 points, right? There's the team that finishes first still has to play, and then they have to hold their position for earning the bye. And then take a team that in the past that got hot late. You use us as the example of last year that fell just on the outside. Those teams could be one of the more dangerous teams going into the playoffs. So it does shake things up a little bit. There's still some questions about other factors, but the timing of the season and a lot of stuff that has to be ironed out as far as how we're going to conduct business moving forward. But with respect to the playoffs themselves, more football is good football, and an opportunity. It's going to shake things up because typically that team that finishes first, they don't get to sit around and wait for everybody to beat themselves up and show up. They now have to be a part of the process itself.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that you got the number 1 and the number 2 seed in the East and West, and whoever wins that obviously gets the bye to the next round in their division. But we could see, if the number 2 team in the West had the second best record, then they actually wouldn't play the West team in the next round. They would cross over because then they've seeded. So we have potential for different matchups, and also in theory, the potential to have the 2 best teams in the league championship.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely have that. But as we know, the end of the season, there's a lot of attrition. The healthiest roster may end up being the best roster at that time.
Yeah.
Right? And also to your point about seeding, travel, and some of the other things that factor in. But I think that when you really look at it from that lens, I think you increase the odds of the best team playing. I think if you look back over the history, you look back at our teams in 15, the last championship we won. I think both us and Calgary won both 14 games.
Yeah.
And I think the East, I don't think anybody in the East was over 500 if I'm mistaken, if I'm correct. or maybe that'd been the next year. But regardless of it, that'd be an opportunity where we played Calgary here. They would go out east, and if they won, and you could very well end up seeing each other in a Grey Cup. So there's a lot to unpack with this new playoff format. And I think until we all actually have a chance to see it and see the excitement that it could bring with respect to just seeing the overall matchups, right? Because again, those early play-in games, who knows what those could bring. And the second place team comes out of a first round game, but they come out beat up. All of a sudden a 7 or 8 seed team starts to gain momentum, and then you see something that happens there that we haven't seen in a while, right? So I just think that there's a lot to be excited about with respect to the unpredictability of the new playoff format, and it's going to take some time for people to adjust to it and change, but it's going to be interesting to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all works out. So I want to kind of give it a chance before having a full-on judgment of it.
Yeah, and that's fair. Ed Hervey joins us. Ed, the one thing that will change is the season's going to start earlier, right? Like we got training camp starting on May 9th this year, or May 10th on Sunday. And, obviously the season's going to start in May next year. So I would assume the training camp's going to start earlier. Are you expecting then, how much of a difference will it be for the draft if it goes before the NFL draft?
Yeah, I think that's the big question, right? No, we haven't been able to get an answer on that one yet. So I'm quite interested in hearing how we plan to kind of mitigate that and have the discussion, right? Typically in a normal year, we all would wait to see where the high-end national players would go if they were going. Like if the NFL was interested in them, whether they were drafted or got a priority free agent or undrafted free agent, something to that effect. And then we're able to, determine, find out what kind of money they received. And then we're able to slot them in our, draft, ranking of as far as selection is concerned. But, if you took this year's draft class with the amount of talent that was in there and as well as the NFL potential guys that went in, and you put that before the draft, we're basically drafting blind, and who knows where guys are going to go. So that's going to be something that's going to be a challenge for us to talk through with the decision makers on this, because ultimately our fans want to see the players, and the best players, and we want to draft the best players and players who are available to us. So that'll be something that we really need to chat through and really find a solution for.
Is it possible, do you think, to have the draft right on that, Monday or Tuesday after the NFL draft, even if your season starts earlier? Like, could you just have guys in, just kind of come and plug and play them right into camp? Would that be plausible?
You're talking about before the NFL draft?
No. So let's say we just kept it the same. The NFL draft happens late April, like it does now, right? And and then so the 3 days after the draft, like you did this year, you have it. Now, training camp might already be underway or going to start right away because of that. Would it be that detrimental to have the draft that close to the to training camp, do you think?
Well, I mean, changes happen regardless of what I say on this call, right? But we're talking about national players, the top end guys. They're going to choose the NFL 10 out of 10 times, right? So if the NFL says that there's a mini camp for them and it's a week away or 2 weeks into our training camp, we're going to be waiting on our draft picks, right? So that's kind of the challenge that we face. And then there's the outside chance in some cases that an NFL team signs the player, and then we're without that player that we were hoping or expecting to have be a part of the roster. So that's kind of that's kind of where we're at. I mean, there's really no way around that. So, can you draft and bring guys in? Sure. Are you going to pass up on the talented, more higher end guy to take someone that's available to camp? That's a strategy there. But I don't think that's not the business that, those of us who are in it to win games are for. So again, we got to find out what the next steps are. And I'm eager to hear what our commissioner has to, path for us as far as a solution for that.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to hear what that could be.
Yeah, and that's fair, and that's the one concern, and I totally understand that one. Obviously, you want to get good young players involved. I guess that if it goes before, then you probably got to, I don't know if you do your due diligence, you would kind of know, like, certain guys are going to go in the NFL draft. It's the ones who are, undrafted who then sign. That's the risk, right?
Correct. That is absolutely it, right? Like, you get not the guy who's likely to get drafted, it's the guy who has a chance to potentially get a couple of mini camps or gets 10 or 15 grand and he's not available to you. But you go into the way our current process is, you at least know what you're up against, and you have you can make the decision, right? As prior to that, it's a bit of a change. But again, right, this isn't a session of complaining. It's more of a session of just trying to make sure we have a plan. I know that the league will get together and discuss that and figure it out. Then there's the other stuff, the pro days and all these other things that factor in because the rest of the season is impacted by it as well. The earlier part of the season, right? Combine and things like that. So I'm just kind of curious to see how it all kind of unfolds. But, we haven't even gotten to the point where we discuss the American players that we bring up that are waiting for the NFL opportunities as well, right? If your camp begins, right as the NFL is trying to sort through their roster, that's going to be a bit of a challenge as well. But we're going to adjust and make the best of it and just look forward to where the changes benefit us, and we're going to make the best of it and go from there.
Ed Hervey joins us. So Ed, now let's look to your team. You signed 5 of your draft picks yesterday. You got a few left. Are you expecting to sign the other guys before the weekend?
No, they're going to be a mini camp.
Okay.
But depending on what happens there, our expectation is that if those things NFL signings don't come to fruition, we're expecting them to sign and come in and join us for camp. But as mentioned earlier, when the mini camp comes up, the players are going to take those opportunities, before committing. But we're excited about them coming in, and we're excited about having them when they eventually get here, and we're just ready to get ready to get going and get the training camp started so we can get after it.
Okay, so now looking at your team, and obviously you made some moves to augment on the D line and the O line, and now you kind of get to see where all the pieces fit starting this weekend. And when you compare your roster today to the roster you had 5 days before training camp last year, where do you feel you're most improved?
Yeah, I'd like to believe we're most improved, overall in the whole roster, but more so with that being continuity and players understanding what they're doing and understanding coaches and stuff. When we're talking about coming out of last season and having a chance to watch the team play, and the off season being solely committed to improving the roster based on the games that we were able to evaluate, I'd like to believe that the work that was put in this off season, we were able to address the areas that were glaring. The offensive line being a primary area of concern for us. Adding some depth and an impact pass rusher on that side of the ball, and just the level of play at wide receiver, are some of the areas to discuss. I feel like those are areas that we put a major emphasis on improving with a blend of CFL experience, some with NFL, pedigree, and as well as just high-end young talent that we expect to come in and grow and compete and push our veterans and play at a high level. I mean, you add that to the young players who played last year who got that valuable experience, whether it was thrusted into the lineup right away or placed, earned an opportunity to get into the lineup when guys when there were injuries. And we feel very confident that, the returning roster and the players that were here give us a chance to, start faster in camp with players understanding the systems. And, if we get through camp healthy as we did last year, and we can have our best players ready to start the season, we're really excited about where the future of this roster could go and what kind of start we could have.
How about your offensive line play, Ed? You made some significant changes along the offensive line, and on paper, it looks better. How confident are you that your O-line plays improved?
Yeah, I think that is better. I think that, as I said, I was disappointed in our tackle play last year. Just really, really disappointed in the play of the tackles, and that was an area that we went out to improve and make it a point to try to get better at. And obviously, we're the guard play, it struggled. So we're moving Mark Corte back to center. Him and David Beard are competing for that position. The arrival of Carter O'Donnell definitely helped improve the offensive line. Coulter Woodmansey, who we brought in from Hamilton, he's going to play the other right guard. And then, as I mentioned with the tackles, Brandon Bordner and Jordan Murray, we feel just are upgrades from the tackle position for us. So my hope is that that the health is there for this group, the ability to gain continuity and work through the growing pains of communicating through camp and getting the systems down is going to be obviously that's what training camp is for. But as far as overall improvement, we feel like we've done a good job there. And, the rest remains to be seen when they get on the field. But I tell the guys internally, I'm not going to rest until the offensive line is one of the better ones in the league. I want it to be the top in the league. And that's where our resources will continue to go until we're able to protect the quarterback, run the football, and dominate the line of scrimmage.
Ed Hervey, GM of the Elks, joins us. One last one for you, Ed. Brand new turf this year. Any alterations? Is that anything that the players have to adjust to, or is that just all positive getting on the new turf?
I mean, you got to get used to the new turf. Everyone's going to play on it. We're going to practice on Clark, which is a new surface from last year. And when the new surface comes in at Commonwealth, I'm sure we'll ease into that gradually as well to make sure that our players are used to it. We don't want injuries to happen, and we're going to allow that to kind of be the way we handle our approach to the field turf. But anything new is always good. It's a matter of ensuring that we're taking the proper steps to acclimate and adjust to it. And we have great staff here, therapy staff, and all the science and data behind things. So I'm gonna leave that to those professionals to give us the guidance that we need to make certain that our players are able to adjust. But in the meantime, it's gonna feel good to have training camp at Clark. It reminds me of the old times here when we would go back there, and I feel like that area is easier for our fans to access if they want to come out and watch practice, and it's more intimate setting for us, and get closer to our fans, and just hope that they come out and watch us practice, and I'm looking forward to just really getting started. I think everyone here is chomping at the bit. There's a lot of players downstairs. The buzz is good here, so we're just fired up and ready to get going.
One last one for you, Ed. Your Lakers taking on the Thunder. Now, the Lakers are pretty banged up. What do you feel about your chances against the Thunder?
Well, that's going to be a tall order. Because without Luka and Austin Reeves in the first round against Houston, people didn't think that the Lakers would get past that. It was quite pleased to see LeBron dip into the fountain of youth and and lead the Lakers through that series. But, Oklahoma City's tough. And, they're pretty good, and, we'll have a chance to see. But like anything, right, you got to get on the court and play, and anything is possible. But this one's going to be a tall order. If the Lakers are able to make a series out of this, and at some point, hopefully Luka can make his way back, I think we'll have a stronger chance. But, the cards are definitely stacked against the Lakers in this series.
Ed, always good to catch up with you, man. We'll see you down at camp this weekend. Have a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Jason.
There you go. That is Ed Hervey, GM of the Edmonton Elks. And, hey, lots of changes on the O-line, the D-line. It will be. There's no doubt that starting the season earlier in the CFL, there'll be a challenge about the draft. And that's pretty important because CFL talent is a huge reason why teams win. So I'll be curious to see kind of what's their strategy around that. Take a quick break. We'll come back. Stan Bowman next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Your protein drink should work as hard as you do. That's why Booster Juice is hitting the gym harder than ever, brother. Meet your new gym buddies, the Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers. 2 new ripped and refreshing menu options that bench some serious protein. Perfect for pre or post-workout. Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers taste like motivation. So what are you waiting for? Let's go!
Booster Juice. Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, healing doesn't have to feel heavy, because in our SwimX aquatic therapy pools, you literally float your way to recovery. Whether you're dealing with arthritis, back pain, joint injuries, post-surgical rehab, chronic pain, balance issues, mobility challenges, or just feeling a little creaky, warm water and gentle resistance have your back, your knees, and your hips. Trusted by pro sports teams and rehab hospitals, our SwimX pools help you move sooner, hurt less, and recover faster. So take the load off. Let the water do the work. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
What's that? Is that actually spring? Like no snow squalls or bad weather tomorrow? It's actually spring? Well, GS Construction welcomes the warmer weather because that means we can really get to work. Now, it doesn't matter if there was bad weather. This is our time to shine. But we can't do it without good people to do that work. That's why GS Construction is hiring pipe layers, topmen, and heavy equipment operators. If you want to join a team who loves their work, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Hold on to your hockey helmets, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 69-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot. And Molson Canadian and Coors Light for $5.75. Plus, OTR's TVs are so clear, you'll see the puck better than the ref. That ain't hard, is it? Score and win every game night during Edmonton's playoff run with specials starting 30 minutes before puck drop and last for the whole game. Be a part of the legend. See the menu at ontherocksYEG.com.
Struggling to find skilled workers? What if you could fill your talent pipeline with motivated, pre-vetted youth and receive funding to support your efforts? At Careers The Next Generation, we connect Alberta employers with interns in skilled trades, IT, agriculture, forestry, and more. All WCB covered, high school accredited, safety trained, and ready to contribute from day one. With 83% of RAP students continuing their apprenticeships after high school, investing in youth today means securing your workforce for tomorrow. Don't wait. Visit careersnextgen.ca to get started.
I've got some good news if you've been thinking about a heavy-duty truck. The 2026 Ram 2500 Black Express is now at St. Albert Dodge. You've got 20-inch black aluminum wheels, black Mopar side steps, body color, bumpers and grille, and a sport performance hood. Available in all the colors for $68,990. Plus, new this year, Ram's best-in-class 10-year powertrain warranty. Now's the time. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
.253, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely day. Hey, guys, I have a hard time believing Savoy, Howard, and Hudson will be on the team long-term. It sounds like Howard will get every opportunity, but I wonder if he'd be part of a package to get an established forward from Griesbach Tony. Well, here's the thing. Does Edmonton need another established forward? That's my first question. And second of all, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Savoy, Howard, and Hudson won't be there. I'm not as sold on Hudson being an NHL player as I am Howard. I think Hudson's going to be a really good American League player. I don't know if he's yet to be an NHLer. And I think it's going to be challenging in Edmonton because of exactly what you said. So you got Hyman and Podkolzin, they're locks in your top 9, right? Draisaitl, McDavid, Nugent. So there's 5. If we throw in Savoy, that's 6, right? I think Kapanen 7. And then if Dickinson signed, that's 8. So that leaves 1 spot for Howard or Hudson. And I probably think like Hudson had a good start this season, really tailed off. Now, maybe that was because it was a longer season. He's coming out of college. Who knows? But I like Howard's game better overall for me. But I hope that both of them push, because then, yes, you can move one of them for sure. But I think they're going to want to be patient with Howard, and I think that's a smart thing to do because there's not a lot of guys who are just natural shooters. And I would go with that. But I don't know if Edmonton needs another, quote, established forward. Offense is not the Oilers' problem for me. I don't see it at all. Now, let's get to we're going to kind of break up Stan Bowman's press conference into some different parts because I want you to hear everything that he said. So here, let's get to the start of Stan Bowman press conference if you missed it on Saturday.
What you don't want to do is make quick decisions without really, part of it is we want to talk to the players, talk to the coaches, get their views, talk to my staff, and then kind of look at what actually happened. And like I said, we have impressions on why we didn't succeed, but you want to make sure that that's actually lining up with what actually happened. So today's not a day for making announcements like on anything, whether about players or any types of things like that. That's going to come in time. I think, here to talk about our season and answer your questions, but I don't have any announcements.
So after the loss, Connor McDavid referred to the team as average.
Mm-hmm.
He's expressed an intense desire to win here. He's on a short-term deal. When you hear Connor say that he feels the team was average, how does that resonate with you? And are you concerned it's not heading in the right direction for his long-term future here?
Well, I think just looking at the way the team played, I think that it was one of those years where we were average for a lot of the year. I think the way I took that comment was in previous years, we've had stretches where we've been able to really get our game going and dominate and win 5, 6, 8, 10 in a row, and also have some losing streaks. This year was strange in the sense that other than, I think, twice, we never won more than 2 games in a row. I think we did twice. We won 3 and 5 in a row. And we never lost 5 in a row either. It was really one of those things where we kind of stayed right around that midpoint all season long. So from that perspective, it was a strange year. It wasn't something that we were used to, and it wasn't what we wanted. We wanted to try to find our game. And I think when you listen to what some of the players said, I agree that we weren't able to ever get our momentum during the season to establish that, I guess, swagger that you need in order to be able to overcome adversity that you're going to face. Like Anaheim was sort of the opposite. They had multiple 8 and 9 game winning streaks and then winless streaks. So they were a team that was able to get hot and then really struggle to find their game. obviously when it came down to the series, they were able to find their game quickly. We weren't able to do that. So I think that was an accurate portrayal of our year. And it kind of goes back to the start of the season. You know, we never were able to really get our group together. If you remember back, you know, Hyman missed the beginning of the year, and then Kapanen got hurt, Wallman got hurt, and then when they came back, Nuge got hurt, Roslovic got hurt. Like there was every time someone was coming back, someone else was getting hurt. And that's probably common to a lot of teams. I would say we're not unusual, but we only had a couple games all year when we actually had our kind of full group. And then we made the additions at the deadline. We're looking like things were starting to trend in the positive direction. Then Leon gets hurt, and then other players get hurt. So it was, and we finally felt like starting of the playoffs, we were going to get some health, and then other guys got hurt. So it was just a year that was a lot of, I guess, stops and starts. And that all adds up to feeling like it was just an average year. And, you know, I think for those reasons, I understand kind of what he was trying to say. I think I do. And, you know, we felt the same way as well.
But as it pertains to his concern, or any concern you have about his future, just with those comments.
Well, we're trying to win. Like, I know how bad Connor wants to win. I certainly feel the same way. That's why we all do this. So we're pushing hard. Not every year does it work, and the decisions you make. And but it's not like we're building for 5 years from now, where we're trying to like ramp this thing up, and we're looking to 2030 as a year when we're going to be a good team. Like we're pushing every year. So I think we're not going to change that. We're going to continue to do what we can. Like the now is the time when we want our team to win. We're not looking down the road.
At the deadline, you added, I thought, very specific roles to your team. 2 defensive guys first, and Murphy and Dickinson, and then an energy guy in Doc. Those are elements I think that maybe lacked from your team. Do you feel your team lacks a bit of a consistent defensive identity, and how can you help create that?
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. I think that we've struggled with that more so this year, but even in years past. I think if you're trying to maybe define the style that we play, we're more of an offensive team, and with that it's a bit of a give and take. Like, it's hard to be an offensive team if you're playing safe, simple hockey all the time, because you're not going to generate as much. But I think sometimes we go too far that direction. And I think when we targeted Murphy, Dickinson, and Colton to come in, it was with that mindset that they have a skill set and they have a mentality. And if we can get that to take hold in our team, other guys will also, I guess, grab onto it. But at the end of the day, you need a little bit of a mixture of both. Like, you want to be just a team that defends and doesn't try to make plays. But there was a reason we targeted those players. I felt like that was something our group was lacking. As we look at next year, can we find a way to do both, which is have that mentality to score, but also be responsible? I think sometimes defensive play, it's looked upon as maybe just the way you play in your own end, but it's actually more so the way you manage the puck and the risks that you take in the offensive zone and the neutral zone. And there's that that balance where if you always play a simple, safe game, you're not going to score a lot. So you have to allow some of your creative players to be creative. But also there's times when maybe you don't need to make that play or try to make it. And that's the challenge.
So we'll get more from Stan Bowman. And, you know, it's a fine balance. I'm not expecting Edmonton to suddenly become the Minnesota Wild or Jacques Lemaire or the New Jersey Devils and be a sit-back defensive team. That's not their strength. But you can be a good offensive team and still not leak chances defensively. It's not hard. Teams have done it. And Edmonton's done it at times. They did it for stretches. They haven't been able to do it continually. And Leon Draisaitl said it yesterday in the show. Connor McDavid, we'll play his comments a little bit later on this week. But when you look at the Oilers, and when the players are admitting that, you know what, it didn't take the regular season as serious as they should. They never really found their stride defensively. And I can't just blame the players and the coach. I blame everybody. They're all responsible for it. And I think for the key pieces, because they've had more success than failure under Knoblauch, that's why I'd bring him back. So we'll see what Bowman does, but that's the direction I'd be going for sure. Let's take a quick break. We'll get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. They're here for all your vehicle needs with their digital vehicle report. They don't just tell you what your car needs. They'll show you. Make your summer roads much smoother. FountainTire.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
Okay, so you missed it. Evan Bouchard and Darnell Nurse are heading to Switzerland to represent Canada at the upcoming World Hockey Championship. Also, NHL Draft Lottery tonight. It's going at 5 from the NHL Network studio in Jersey. Vancouver Canucks at the best odds at 25.5% to land the first overall pick. Gavin McKenna, the projected number 1 selection. On the ice, you got the Avs and Wild from Denver. Puck drop just after 6. Colorado leads that series 1-0. In the association, a couple game ones at 5, Cavs and Pistons, and at 6:30, the Lakers taking on the OKC Thunder. Major League Baseball, Jays in Tampa once again taking on the Rays. First pitch 4:40. You've also got the Athletics and the Phillies, Orioles, Marlins. The Nationals get the Twins, Guardians at the Kansas City, Astros host the Dodgers, Mariners up against the Braves, and the Padres taking on the Giants. PWHL Game 2 tonight, Montreal and Minnesota just after 5. The Frost lead that series 1-0. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host, former NHLer Terry Ryan and Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM NHL. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor.
Tuesday afternoon.
Liquor store.
How are
selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even
and
a
Instagram
jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Jaffa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos.
For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Increase resistance to stress and support memory enhancement with new Roots Herbals Ashwagandha. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month. To ensure this product is right for you, always read and follow the label.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. It's Cinco de Mayo. They've got drink specials all day and $3 tacos from 5 p.m. to close. Check them out on Jasper Ave and 118th or online at ontherocksYEG.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock, welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having a lovely Tuesday. It's getting warmer every day. It's into May. How many of you been on the golf course yet? Teeing up, frustration level an all-time high. I love it. But you're having fun out there. That's all that matters, is you're out there and you're having fun. We had the GM Hour, Ed Hervey and Stan Bowman in hour number 1. If you missed it, Elks fans, training camp begins this weekend. Man, it's wild that it's here so quickly. It's kind of crazy, really, when you think about it. But good to see that things are rocking and rolling with the green and gold. Of course, their preseason begins in just over 2 weeks' time. They're in BC on May 23rd, and then they'll have a preseason home game on Friday, May 29th. And then they, of course, will take on the season opener in Ottawa. And similar to last year, they play one game and they have a bye. They obviously like having the bye early in the year. So their first home game still a ways away, which will be Saturday, June 20th at 2 p.m. How about that for a home opener on a Saturday afternoon? Kids are near the end of their rope, right? Because the school is out, the next week? So that'll be a good opportunity. I'm sure parents, teachers, everybody will be like, woof, little break. Get the kids out there. Fun times. I like it. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can always get involved. It's Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And we welcome to the show our Thursday co-host as we go in the room. Brought to you by Action Electrical, where you can take action on your savings. actionelectrical.net. We are joined by Terry Ryan. TR, how you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Ooh, pretty good, buddy. Pretty good. What's the weather out there on the East Coast?
It's all right. It was got up to about 16, 17 today and supposed to be 20 tomorrow. Fingers crossed, but it's finally turned the corner. It's nice. But I mean, I'm so used this time to heading back at night and staying up late to watch the Oilers play. I'm almost taken aback, even though it was 3-1. I was still like kind of high flying, like a 5-year-old has a confidence in a superhero, and everything's down, the chips are down, and Lex Luthor seems like he's got Superman down and out. And just when you think it's over, Superman does something. He reverses the tides and he comes back and he beats Lex and he saves the world. And I felt like, as a hockey fan, maybe a little bit spoiled the last few years as an Edmonton Oilers fan, because I was shocked when they lost. I just felt like, the magic's going to happen again. But, at some point, I suppose that I won't say luck runs out, because it's not luck. They were in the Stanley Cup final twice. Like I said, you don't just stumble upon that. You don't just get a lucky bounce. You've got to get there, man. It's hard. And they did that twice. And, their reign came to an end, and they're going to have to, pick up the pieces and go again.
Yeah. Well, and hey, health was a big factor. You lose your 4-center iceman, TR. I don't know. Now, I know that McDavid played and Dickinson played, but you're playing with fractures. McDavid talked about it, man. My biggest advantage is my speed and explosiveness, and I don't have it. Well, it limits things. So it doesn't mean you still can't be a good player, but you're not the same. Draisaitl didn't have the same pop, he said. Henry couldn't even play. Dickinson missed a game, then he played and was kind of just trying to gut it out at different times. So, hey, that's what makes the playoffs when you win. I can see why players are so overcome with emotion because you recognize how difficult it is. And, some guys are playing 10, 12 years. Some guys never get it done. Some guys play 2 years and win. So, there's all varieties of it. But, I look at the Oilers. I don't believe the Oilers should fire Chris Knobloch. Where do you come out on the coach?
Interesting you ask. I was thinking about this. So, on the one hand, like I just said, it's not easy to get to the Stanley Cup final twice. And he went to game 7. So, if they win that one, I know you say if, but I mean, the whole year is 82, 84 games, then the playoffs, and it all came down to a couple of periods, man. And if he wins that, then he's a Stanley Cup champ, and we're definitely not even considering that. And it's so, but you might say, hey, if he was a better coach, they would have won in 4. I get it. You'll never really know in hindsight, but there's that. And on the other, this season, you could point to many times that there were obvious flaws, some decisions made, how to handle certain situations. But again, I think you would have to be a fly on the wall. I think you'd have to be in the room. To me, it would have to be that the players want them gone. Sometimes that's obvious. Sometimes you lose and you just got to do it, even if the players don't want a guy gone. But in this case, I just think he's done so much good that the other side of the argument, you just need someone fresh. Okay, but how do the leaders on the team feel? If they're still cool with him, I think he's done enough positive for the Oilers to be given every bit of another chance to come back and redeem himself. Again, that's if the leaders are on board. I think they have a lot of say, as they should. They've been to the finals twice, didn't win, but they've been there twice, played all those games. Those veterans have been through a lot with each other, for each other, blood, sweat, tears, all of the above. And if they're cool with it, of course. And there's the first people that I would ask if I was hiring.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I look at the players and I'm kind of I'm not sure. No, I'm right. I'm not in the room, but I don't see where you could be frustrated and say, hey, you know what? Maybe the coach should have come down on us a little bit. Because if I look back and, I'm sure if we gave Chris Knobloch some truth serum, I think he would look back and say, okay, what's one thing I would do different? Because it's always easy, any of us in real life, hey, what would you do different in this relationship? What would you do different in that job? We all have things we do different that you learn from. And I think Knobloch would say, you know what? I probably should have set the tone as a coach a little earlier in what our expectations were defensively for the team. Right? Remember when he benched Draisaitl early last season? Yeah. Wasn't long. You don't need long to send the message to players. Now, I give Draisaitl a ton of credit because how the player responds is up to the player. You can bench a guy and then he doesn't respond well, and then sometimes you look like a fool because you benched him and nothing changed, right? But Draisaitl was like, okay, yeah, you're right, coach. I'm taking too many selfish penalties. I'm done. He took 1 penalty in the next 33 games, right? It clearly worked. This year, I thought the Oilers were very inconsistent defensively. And, now I'm not saying even if the coach would have sat down a Nurse or a Bouchard or Draisaitl, and I'm only naming the guys who eat the most minutes. Because if you bench, Trent Frederick, or you sit down Matthias Janmark, it doesn't really, I don't think it sends the message that, okay, it doesn't get the attention of the top guys. You know what I mean? Sure. You being the best player on your team in junior and stuff. If Terry Ryan gets sat down for a few shifts, every guy's like, holy cow, if that guy can get sat down, I sure as hell can get sat down. I better get going. But if the fourth line guy gets benched in the third period, the top guys are like, oh, well, whatever. He probably shouldn't be playing anyway. You know what I mean? It's totally different.
I totally know what you mean. I've seen players actually do that the other way around. Say, look, maybe sit me down here in this situation because it's not getting through. For exactly the same reason you said. If it's I don't want to use the word inferior, but a lesser used player, it definitely wouldn't hold the same weight. No, it certainly wouldn't. And when it comes to things like that, it can change quickly. I know there's more to penalty kill than just effort, but I think it's easier to adapt and become a great penalty killer than it is to be great on the power play, because a lot of it is effort and positioning, right? That's a really, if you're talking about coach and system, and players buying in, I couldn't think of a better place to point to look at any analytic than the penalty kill, right? Because there's just the least amount of creativity, I think, individually. Again, there are exceptions, of course. Some teams play to get the goal on the power play, which happens. But I'm just saying, as a rule, I think you could adapt and, like I said, become a great penalty killer if you buy in. And I don't think it's the same for the power play.
Yeah. Oh, the power play is, you need some skill at the end of the day, TR, to make the pinpoint passes. And a lot of times to have the ability, I can line up the guy for a one-timer, but if you're just one-timing in the middle of the net every time,
Exactly.
It's not going to be that successful. You got to be able to one-time it into the top corner. Like Leon Draisaitl scores from angles that very few guys in the NHL can score from. And even when the goalie sees it coming, and you're just like, what the hell? Like that wasn't necessarily a great look. It's just a great shot. And that sometimes is indefensible. Whereas the penalty kill is effort, instinct. There's definitely some continuity. And that's where I look at the Oilers. Like the one coaching change I think that will occur for sure is Mark Stewart for two reasons. And not because I think Mark Stewart's a terrible coach, but twofold. So he got the job at the start of the year, got promoted. He was the defense coach and the penalty kill. Penalty kill struggled all year. But then he got demoted as the D coach. And rightfully so, he was frustrated with that. So I just don't see how you can bring him back and say, oh, now we're going to put you back as a defensive coach again. Right? Like I don't know how the players react to that. Yeah. I think kind of like you let the horse out of the barn when you demoted him. I don't think you can put him back in charge.
Yeah, I would agree. And nothing, it's just a vibe and a direction. And unless he's like so far better than anybody else, and which it's hard to really judge that. But it's interesting. You just brought up Frederick. Yes, you couldn't teach Frederick to shoot like Draisaitl from the sub. But remember how Paul Coffey came in and got more out of the D? There's got to be somebody out there that could really come in. I would really, really look in at this, and not just him. There are forwards, but he's a great example. I know there's more there. Everybody, we know it. There's more there. It's not like he didn't work hard. It's not like he didn't go out there and put pressure on himself. He had 18 goals a few years ago. He's a big, powerful guy that can do most of what he did this year better. And I'm not saying that in criticism. I got confidence. He's right there. It's not like he's aging out or anything, right? And they signed him for 8 years. I know it seems like a lot now looking, and any 8-year contract to me deserves an awful lot of attention, and you've got to be certain. But outside of that, it. They did it for a reason, because there's more there. There's definitely more there. And someone has to be able to come in and draw that out of players that underachieved. And there were a lot of them this year. And again, I don't mean a new coach. I mean, I don't know, create a role. Well, what is Matt Sundin doing? I don't even really know. But that's probably a little high up, but just make something. Have somebody come in, because there's players on the roster that can definitely give more, and it's not because they're not trying. So there's got to be somebody out there. I fully believe it. I think it's just a few tweaks away from having some players have just breakout seasons.
Yeah, well, I look at, Knobloch did mention in his press conference that, they think Frederick's going to get an opportunity to kill penalties next year. I would think that Podkolzin will get an opportunity to kill penalties next year. We saw Kapanen this year. Henrique's not probably coming back. I don't expect him to come back. Lazar probably not. I think they'd like to have the majority of their guys in their bottom six. Like if Janmark's healthy again, and he's finally healthy with his shoulder, he's a penalty killer for sure. And I think he could probably score more than 2 goals. Right? He couldn't shoot. That was pretty obvious. So he's one guy. He's a penalty killer. Frederick's penalty killer, Podkolzin, Kapanen, and then you throw in 2 centers, and there you've got your penalty killers, right? So, Nugent Hopkins, maybe if he's your 3C, or Dickinson, or, I look at the one thing I think the Oilers need is I'd like him to get a right shot center. I know it's not a must, but it'd be nice. Now, there's not lots of them, but the one guy, if he becomes available, is Kevin Stenlund for me. He's a UFA right now. This guy was 60% in the faceoffs in the playoffs, 54% in the regular season, takes tons of draws. He's won a cup with Florida, if you believe in that sort of thing. Big body, He's got some offensive instincts, but he kills penalties and he plays defensive hockey. If he came available, that's the guy I'd be looking at.
Yeah, I see. And the right shot, give it a little bit of a different look. Reliable player. I see where your head's at. Greg's, you never looked at becoming a GM of sorts or a coach in junior hockey or anything? You've got a mind for it. You go right to those intangibles and the contracts and the potential and the age. It's all hovering around up there in your frontal lobe. You never thought of doing that?
I coached once when I was I've coached at the young, I've been coaching my son, U7, though it's not really, but it's super fun. U13 was actually the first year you could kind of get into some things I thought was fun. But I remember when I was 19, I helped coach, not a high level, just a Bantam team. It was I think it was Bantam A back then, whatever it's called. I don't even know what that would be now. Tier 1, I guess. I don't know. But, and it was loads of fun just working with kids and kind of seeing how they go. But, I was never in, it's a big commitment. I had a few buddies who went the coaching ranks, and man, you are, you're on the bus all the time, you're on the road. And yeah, it wasn't really, I didn't really get the interest in that until later in life. Right. And now obviously be way too late to want to coach, but I definitely, I've learned more about the game coaching, even at U11 and U13 the last few years and then sitting down, do
you mean more about the game, systematically or off the ice?
Yeah, well, both, right? But, definitely systematically, but more so just how the game's changed. What I was coached growing up, you don't coach anyway that way at all now. And that's why I chuckle when some coaches well, I was coached that way. Well, yeah, great. But then you're not adapting. What we did in 1980s and 90s isn't coached at all really today. Hustle is still there, but, how you attack the zone and break, it's completely different, right?
Different.
Even defensemen, if you watch defensemen in the offensive zone, it used to be you wanted your left point defenseman to stay in the left point, your right point defenseman to stay in the right point. Well, nowadays, if you watch, man, your defensemen are rovers in the offensive zone a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Moving around. It's not stationary anymore. So, I think, and it's hard because a lot of kids, the one thing I've learned at the young age, lots of kids, they want to play forward because you score, right? Yeah. You think you score more, right? And so, this year, we actually have a shortage in St. Albert of defensemen. So I had to have a kid play defense who was a forward. We had 10 forwards and 5 defense, and you had to put a forward on defense. And, hey, maybe it's bad luck sometimes being the coach's kid, but, it's my son who got to do it. But I've watched him for years, and I'm I actually think he has better defensive instincts because when he was a forward, a lot of times he doesn't like getting scored on. So, he's always worried of that. He was thinking of that rather than always attacking.
Hey.
So, you have natural defense. So I put him on defense. And the other thing is he passes the puck. The thing I've found as a coach, the hardest thing to get kids to do is pass the freaking puck.
Yeah.
They all want to try to go, they see these dangling moves. And sadly, some of these academies and camps they show in YouTube videos, all it is individual skill stuff. It's not passing the puck. So you get kids who puck, and it makes a world of difference. So I've learned a lot. I would never want to get into coaching. Way too old now to start, but you can still learn more. I like coaching this angles. I go to coaching clinics. I bug a lot of coaches around, even NHL coaches. I asked Chris Knobloch, right, and Connor Allen, different guys for different drills for different things. I'd say, hey, I got this. What do you have with this? And actually, who was the best guy? That's Troy Stetcher. Him and I probably talk coaching maybe more than any other player I ever have.
Wow, interesting.
And Ryan McLeod, because Ryan McLeod's dad coached him a lot growing up. And so he would ask me about coaching. And Troy Stetcher, things he talked about that he learned even later, that he goes, man, if I'd have learned this as a younger age, I think it would have been a better player, right? Because sometimes you're too, not that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you're in the NHL, TR, and you're Troy Stetcher. You don't have time to really work on some of the things if you did when you're 14, right? And so Troy Stetcher was probably the one player that I learned a lot about, just him, and I would be hey, what about this? What do you do for this? And a D-man, and I'm trying to get a defenseman to play in this situation. So that part was great. So I think it's allowed me to learn the game more, just talking in different directions and conversations that I wouldn't have talked of before.
I love what you said about that. Because some kids, what they learn when they're 12 to 15, younger, but I'm just saying, for example, a lot of it, because you're just becoming, if you're going to be a great player in some degree or a successful player, you're coming into your own, you're becoming a prospect of sorts. And It really bothered me a couple of months ago. I won't never say the name, but it's locally, and it was Bantam, I guess U15 AAA, right? So, and they were going with a system that didn't really favor an offensive defenseman, and I'm going, I think you almost got to kind of let the D, because this, there's a couple players, and one of their D is just definitely offensive. And who came just ahead of him is Quinn Norman, who's really offensive. He's a 16-year-old on the regiment. So I'm guessing, because this guy's just a year or two younger. Anyway, and I just see people coaching saying, stay back, and kind of discouraging. And if you watch the Minnesota-Colorado series is wild, watching Quinn Hughes play against Cale Makar, and these guys are all over. Like you said, they're all over the place. They're doing Bobby Orr spins 4 times a period. If I'm wrong, it's low. They are out there. They are really being creative. And if I was a kid, that's why I would want to play defense now. It might change. Maybe in the late 90s, I'd want to be Scott Stevens. But I right now would want to be that. And if I'm a coach, I don't want to discourage that, because I want to win and I want to give them a defensive system. So it's a real, but you want to win, and you want some structure to it. So I can understand how that would be a really kind of hard task. I'm not calling out the coach. He didn't say, don't ever go up and, do 10 put. It was just what I saw was kind of restricting a player that his best assets were waiting to burst out, but they're not going to happen like that because he's playing within a system that doesn't favor that. And here, the Quebec League is coming to do scouting. So, hopefully they would know that. A good scout would. But I just, sometimes it can stifle a player, and it's a fine line between coaching and wanting creativity and then wanting to win, which is also good for the players. So hats off to you. I find that a really tough age.
Very true. Quick break. We'll return. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
New at Papa John's, the spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Say it with me now. Spinach Alfredo sauce, grilled chicken, fresh Roma tomatoes, all on our fresh, never frozen pizza dough. 4 favorites, 1 pizza. So let's run it back. The spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Right now, a large for just $18.99. Delivery or carry out. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. It feels good to know your fund goes further at home. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's AquaCentral reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. We treat pain and injuries head to toe and some other issues that might surprise you, like incontinence, vertigo, neuropathy, and cognitive issues. We invest in technology, techniques, skills, and people that know how and what to fix. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
3:34. Welcome back, Gregor, Hallie, Terry Ryan with you. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. As always, brought to you by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where get in. Of course, you got the Jason Gregor Show odds boost. Do you like the Avs? Do you like the Wild? We got a little parlay action there. And I think we might see some points tonight in the association. Although some think it might be a brick fest between Cleveland and Detroit. We'll see. But I kind of, the Thunder, Lakers, over. That might be the easiest over I could think of. So see what happens. Check it out. PlayAlberta.ca. Now, let's go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's newest drink drop is coming in ice cold. From creamy crafted sodas to sparkling juicy refreshers, explore the entire lineup of new flavors, pouring now only at McDonald's. Just in time for the warm weather. As we welcome in Dave A. McCarthy from Sirius XM. Davey, how you doing, my man?
All right, fellas, what's going on?
Oh, there is lots happening right now in the hockey world. We're into the second round of the playoffs. We're having 15-goal games, overtime games. You've got people losing their mind over the hiring of the Toronto Maple Leafs, the GM and senior advisor. It's kind of entertaining from an outside perspective. I look at John Shaika, and I can understand why there are people that question him. I'm not going to say I talked to 20 NHL executive Daves, but I did talk to quite a few, and many of them mirrored what Simmons said. Now, I didn't agree with how Simmons approached it personally. I think there's ways to ask that question better. Maybe ask the guy who's right there, but nonetheless, his point is accurate that the past has not been necessarily truthful for Shaika. How do you think that's going to work in Toronto?
Yeah, it was to say it gently, a very awkward, uncomfortable press conference yesterday in a way that, quite honestly, I can't remember in my time covering the team. In talking to people around the league as well, I've heard similar responses to what Steve conveyed yesterday at the press conference. So I have no problem with the point that he was making. I agree with you, Jason. It probably could have been asked in a little bit better of a way to elicit a better response, because coming at it the way that he did, what do you expect is going to be the response from the guy that you're like putting on the spot? Not much better than what you got. And so part of the issue was that it's a perfectly reasonable question to ask why. Why does one of the pillar franchises in the NHL, who boasts about resources being no issue, though that is not the same as it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, that I can tell you, but still likes to position itself as a pillar franchise in the NHL. You conduct an exhaustive search. he mentions unprompted that they talked to 27 candidates. And the guy that you come up with is the guy that left his last job 6 years ago in, quite honestly, a really awkward mess. And people that I've talked to, that Steve's talked to, you've talked to, generally share a consensus that they are shocked that this is who they ended up with. It's reasonable to ask why, and Keith Pelly did a very poor job of explaining why, and that I think is quite telling. I was shocked because you knew that question was coming. You cannot be naive to think that question was not coming. And so going in, you'd think you'd have a bit better of an answer as to why. And what I would say is that Keith Pelly didn't help John out very much, leaving him sit there because he wasn't able to accurately convey why it was that they hired him. And so that contributed to the discomfort. And, here we are left basically with no answers. What I took from the presser yesterday, fellows, was from Keith Pelly's standpoint, largely it's a fact because I said it is. And from John Chayka and Matt Sundin, well, what do you want from us? We just got here. It's day one. We'll get you in the fall. And like that was very underwhelming. I think for a fan base that they know was very rabid and agitated right now. And I just thought it was handled quite poorly.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So you look at the Leafs now, and obviously they'll be paying attention. So, Davey, give me your thoughts today, and TR, you can answer. Which team will have the number one draft pick? And I know, because I'm not saying who wins the lottery, because somebody can win the lottery and not pick first. So who will have the number one pick by the end of tonight?
Terry, you tend to be a luckier guy than me. What are you feeling right now?
I'm going to send the hockey world into chaos. I'm going to hope for that and say the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I mean, that would certainly appease the fan base if that's where it ended up. Because as John
It'd be amusing either way, yeah.
It would be, right? As John Chayka quite rightly pointed out when he was kind of asked about that, he said, well, if we win, I'll look a lot smarter. He's right about that. And that's the funny thing about press conferences. If he had hit a home run out of the park and somehow found a way to convince everybody that, you know what, all of your thoughts about me are wrong, and what a great decision they made, and here we go. That doesn't much matter if the decisions he makes moving forward are no good. Conversely, the press conference was not very good. But if they win the lottery and he makes some savvy decisions and puts it on a track going in the right direction over the next 6, 9, 12 months, no one's going to remember this. Remember, Ross Atkins, the Blue Jays, wasn't exactly the most popular guy in town pretty much a year ago. And then suddenly they caught fire. They went on a run. They make it to Game 7 of the World Series. Ross is back. Mark Shapiro's back on a long-term deal. And they get out to kind of an inauspicious start in April, and no one's really panicking. It's more a case of, you know what, some injuries. Here they are. Yeah, they'll be fine now that May's rolled around, getting healthy again. If they hadn't gone to Game 7 of the World Series and they started out like this, it'd be mutiny around the Blue Jays. So my point being, when it comes to the Leafs, is if they win the lottery and John makes a few real good decisions and good moves during the offseason, the tenor in the fan base will be abundantly different come September, but it's on them now, John Chayka, Matt Sundin, to do the job and do it well, and then they can be fairly judged.
Davey, who do you think whose job is safer? Craig Berube, Chris Knobloch?
Ooh, that is a good question. I would say Craig Berube's right now. I was really surprised when John Chayka was asked about Craig Berube. He was very complimentary of him. He said he's a Stanley Cup winning coach. He's a good person, which he is. And they're going to sit down with him and talk with him this week and see what he has to say and see if their visions align. And I think if Craig puts on a good sales job and convinces them that, yeah, I can coach the team that you're trying to build, This is a guy that has 2 years left and significant dollars left on his contract. Goes back to what I said earlier about resources, not necessarily the same as it was 3-4 years ago. They don't want to necessarily pay a coach $8-9 million to not coach for them for the next 2 years. I think there's a possibility that he could be back. Also, because I think realistically, I think the Leafs know where they're at right now. They should know where they're at, which is to say, a ways from a Stanley Cup. And so changing the head coach won't necessarily make the immediate impact that it could in Edmonton, who is under the clock, on the clock, under the gun, if you will, with 2 years left of Connor McDavid on his contract. Now, I wouldn't say that the Oilers are necessarily that close to a Stanley Cup either. They've got some serious flaws on that team. But I think it's fair to say that Chris Knobloch did not get nearly the most out of this team this year. And some of the decisions that he made along the way and the way that he came off when he spoke, I thought was extremely underwhelming, to be honest with you. Like, you know, some of the stuff he said after the loss to the Ducks, I thought was very perplexing. Like, oh, you know, we had a good series. We were right there. Didn't really go our way. And, you know, I thought, you know, when McDavid said they had an average team that had high expectations, he said, I thought we got the most we could out of this season. I don't think that flies at all in the market in Edmonton right now. And so I think there's a little bit more of an acute type of situation in Edmonton where coming back forward into the fall, you might look at it and say, we got to make some changes to the roster, but also maybe a different voice is needed for the group compared to the guy that, got them to 2 Stanley Cup finals 2 years prior, but regressed, I think, each year from the first appearance. Really like lousy year this year, quite honestly. They're lucky they made the playoffs. I think you could make the case that a new voice might be required in Edmonton.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I wouldn't do it. I use the analogy of guy has 2 40-goal seasons in a row, and then he drops down to 25. You just get rid of him. In his third year in the league, I wouldn't do it if it was me. I think the coach, now Knobloch made some mistakes, no question. I don't think the team played well enough as a group. They underachieved, and collectively, I'd bring him back. So we'll see what the organization does. I think now would be a bad time to overreact. That's just me. Looking at some other teams, it's the Philadelphia Flyers. My goodness, they might be having nightmares of their inability to score in breakaways last night because they had a lot of chances to win that game in the third period and overtime. Couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first game really this playoffs where Carolina did not look like themselves and kind of got away with one. In fact, you get down 2-0 relatively early on in the game. I thought that the Canes were probably the better team in the second and maybe for a good portion of the third. And that as the third wore on, the Canes got weaker and the Flyers put on a push and were stronger down the stretch. And certainly early in that overtime, the power play, the Travis Konechny breakaway, they spent some offensive zone time. They rolled around, but they just couldn't end it. And in Carolina's case, you got some production from guys that had been pretty quiet through 5 games. Nick Ehlers, Seth Jarvis. And they kind of delivered after Logan Stankoven's line had carried the mail through 5 games. Obviously, Taylor Hall with the winner in overtime, and he's been great all playoffs long. But yeah, Carolina was not at their best, and they found a way to win. And so, look, Rick Tocchet expressed confidence that they're not done, they're not dead. I do think they have something to build off after game 2, but in saying that, they're down 2-0, and this is not the Pittsburgh Penguins that they played in the first round. Carolina is a really good team. And even when they're not at their best, the fact that they could win with their B game, so to speak, I think speaks to their championship caliber and pedigree. Like, they don't need to be at their best with how good their team is in order to win. They were able to win with a game that was B level at best. And I don't expect it to be B level again. I would be surprised. So I think Philadelphia is in one. I think the only chance they had in that series was to try and tie it up. 1-1, come back home, and they missed that opportunity. And so while, they had chances to win it, and you can try to build something off that, I think you got to feel pretty crestfallen as well that you're in that position down 2-0.
Maybe quickly looking at some of the other kind of goings on in the NHL. We have the draft tonight, and obviously, you know what? Hey, winning the draft will be beneficial to lots of organizations, even just moving up. But it's interesting about Toronto because if anybody below them moves up, they drop to number 6. And that means Boston gets their draft pick. Like, that's a very intriguing second storyline. You got the Vancouver Canucks who can never have any sort of success in the lottery. They've dropped down almost every year. So I would argue it's probably their time to get it done. What do you make of the Canucks and their search and the Nashville Predators and their search for the GM jobs?
I haven't exactly been too enthused with the names that I've heard coming out of the Vancouver Canucks search at this point. I guess that's really all I can say. Underwhelming at best. Does a guy like Pierre Dorian's name has been floating around? Does he deserve another chance? Maybe, but I think there were some serious mistakes that he made during his tenure in Ottawa that it took them a little while to recover from. So unimpressed, I guess. And I think that also might speak to the fact that I know there are only 32 jobs of that nature in the NHL, but I've heard from some people that would be candidates for a job of that nature that have expressed extreme reluctance in going to Vancouver, working under that ownership. And so you're probably going to end up getting candidates who don't have a lot of options right now, and would not be necessarily at the top of the list of some more attractive marketplaces right now. So I think that's part of it. The ownership has a reputation in Vancouver. It's well earned, and it scares off some folks who have options. With Nashville, I guess they're taking their time. I haven't really talked to anybody too specifically about Nashville, but they do have a guy in Barry Trotz who's staying on while the search is being conducted and has been in the role. And it's not exactly as though he's clueless in the role. So they're not a rudderless ship, and they're taking their time and making the right decision that they feel is appropriate. Does Tom Fitzgerald get a look down there? I wouldn't be against that. I think Tom is a guy that has grown well in the business, working his way up from the Penguins organization to where he was with New Jersey. And, I think he's a guy that has earned the right to, or earned the privilege, I guess, for another opportunity, because I think he did some good in New Jersey. I think a lot of things worked against him. Predominantly the health of guys that they rely on and their inability to stay healthy. Jack Hughes stays healthy more often than not. I think they would have been in a better position. Should he have gone out and said, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, and gotten Quinn Hughes? Yeah, maybe he should have. But I can also build the case as to why that might not have been the right move at the time. And so, yeah, I know that's something that agitates that fan base. And I guess he felt like playing it more conservatively was the right way. That'll be debated. I would look at a guy like Tom. He's got pedigree in the market in Nashville, former captain, well-respected guy in the game. He's a guy that I would look at. But like I said, with Nashville right now, I think they're willing to take their time because they don't have it in a situation where there's no hands on the wheel. Barry Trotz has got it until they decide who they think would be best to succeed him.
Davey, always good to catch up with you, buddy. We will chat with you on Sunday on the brunch, and of course next Tuesday here. Have a great day,
buddy.
See you, boys.
It's Dave A. McCarthy. We'll come back with 5 questions on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy for comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Your protein drink should work as hard as you do. That's why Booster Juice is hitting the gym harder than ever, brother. Meet your new gym buddies, the Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers. 2 new ripped and refreshing menu options that bench some serious protein. Perfect for pre or post-workout. Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers taste like motivation. So what are you waiting for? Let's go!
Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Increase resistance to stress and support memory enhancement with new Roots Herbals Ashwagandha. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month. To ensure this product is right for you, always read and follow the label.
Hold on to your hockey helmets, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 69-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot. And Molson Canadian and Coors Light for $5.75. Plus, OTR's TVs are so clear, you'll see the puck better than the ref.
That ain't hard, is it?
Score and win every game night during Edmonton's playoff run with specials starting 30 minutes before puck drop and last for the whole game. Be a part of the legend. See the menu at ontherocksYEG.com.
Experience the home ice advantage with your window coverings. Novo Blinds provides factory direct pricing and fast turnaround on roller, zebra, blackout, drapery, and motorized blinds. Book a free in-home consultation at novoblinds.ca.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
The tents are up and the deals are out. The Brick's biggest sale of the season is on now. Take up to 60% off clearance items in the tents. Sofas start at $3.99 and save up to 50% on select mattresses. Get a sofa, coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and dining set, all for less than $1,500. Only at the Brick's tent sale. See in store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3, saving you more money with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Mortgages to Go. Need cash and have equity in your home? Mortgages to Go has you covered. When the bank says no, they say yes, and they've been doing it in Alberta for over 23 years. Call 1-888-888-5998 or visit mortgagestogo.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We return on a busy Tuesday afternoon. Coming up in the final few hours of the show today, Struddy, Spec, DVD, Cam Tate. We got 5 questions. We'll get to the stats of the day, more with Stan Bowman as well. So lots and lots to get to. We got loads of texts coming in. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Greggs, why would we not want to re-sign Roslovic or Dickinson from Darren? Well, I think the Oilers would want to sign Dickinson. I don't think anybody said they would. I think they'd want to. It's Jason Dickinson's in a very unique position. If you look at free agent centers right now, they're there's not a lot of them. Right? There's Charlie Coyle. There's Jason Dickinson. There's Scott Lawton. There's not a lot. And what are teams looking for? They're desperate for centers. So you're 30 years of age and you're Jason Dickinson. Now, he's coming off, he had a pretty good contract at 4.25, right? It's a good deal. But what's his next deal going to be? Now, if it's like he goes to the market, man, there's lots of teams with extra money who will be wanting to spend. Now, does he want to be on a winning team? I think he does. That, talking to him, I get the sense. But money talks. What if somebody offers him 5 years at $5 million? Is he going to turn it down? Pretty hard. So I think the Oilers, well, not to think, I know the Oilers would like to re-sign Dickinson. That's why they traded for him. But will he test the market? Murphy, I got a much different. Murphy's 3 years older. He's made more money. You know, he doesn't need the big hit. You know, he's going to want a fair market value contract. But I think there's a really good chance Connor Murphy signs at Edmonton before July 1st. Dickinson, I'm not as sure because he's in a different position. He's a little bit younger at a time when there's a real shallow center pool. As for Roslovic, I think Edmonton would sign him, but they're not going to get him at 1.5, at least not on July 1st or before July 1st. And when you look at their forwards, they want to create space for Isaac Howard. So if you have Draisaitl and McDavid and Nugent Hopkins and Hyman and Podkolzin and Savoy, right? Then you throw in a third line center, which Roslovic won't be. There's Ike Howard, who they want to have space for. And then I just look at style and physicality of players. They would look at Kapanen. When you have Savoy and you're going to have Howard, if you have Roslovic over Kapanen, probably not, because Kapanen kills penalties. Kapanen's bigger. He's more physical. He's just as quick. So I think it comes to a numbers game there. I think it's basically, hey, they like Roslovic, but they're probably going to say, hey, we'll give Isaac Howard an opportunity to replace him in the top 9. I could be wrong, but that's how I view them in that. So we'll see. Eight 401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, are there a lot of teams interested in Cassie? You think they'd hire him as assistant? It's a good question. That I do not know the answer to. Now, Bruce Cassidy right now is keeping his name out there, as he wisely should be, right? He is he's doing the rounds on lots of different shows and podcasts and everything, that's the way you want to keep out of sight, out of mind can be an issue at times, right? And if you look at it, there's the Los Angeles Kings who had DJ Smith. He's on the interim basis, right? But that's it. There's no other current coach openings, right? Pete DeBoer just got hired. Now John Tortorella, I guess, but obviously he's not going back to Vegas, right? And then Columbus announced that Rick Bowness is back. So right now there's no other openings. Now, are teams who miss the playoffs going to make some changes? Like if Nashville gets a new GM, would he fire the coach right away? Probably not, because I think, Andrew Burnett hasn't been there that long. They also, Barry Trotz is working with them. I think there'd be a transition period there in Nashville. Vancouver. Now, I heard varying reports from different people that thought that, Adam Foote struggled as a head coach at times in Vancouver. And I don't know if he has the security per se. But so I don't know if there's a lot of teams interested because there's really no openings currently. Right? LA is really the only one that you can say, because that's a full-time interim basis. That would be it. And I would think Ken Holland would interview. Hey, Gregor, how many seasons did it take Paul Maurice to win a Stanley Cup? From Drew. Oh, Drew, I want to say close to 20. All right, he's coached 22 seasons. So, yeah, 20 years. Now, he also started coaching in the NHL at 28. Lots of other guys at 28 are coaching in the minors or coaching in Major Junior. He was able to coach there. And Paul Maurice, before he won the Stanley Cup, he had missed the playoffs 3, 5, 9, 13 times. Now he missed the playoffs again this year. So that's 14 times in his career he's missed the playoffs. He's won 2 cups the last 3 years, lost in the finals in 22. And other than that, he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10-14. Well, 12-14 now with the 2 cups making the playoffs, right? And people look at Paul Maurice and say, great coach. I look at John Cooper, right? A lot of people are in love with John Cooper as a coach right now, right? You love him. Now, first of all, Tampa Bay wisely, as we said yesterday, they're not getting rid of him. Like, the only way John Cooper's leaving is John Cooper chooses to leave, and I don't see it. But John Cooper came in, lost in the first round, lost in the finals, lost in the third round, missed the playoffs, lost in the third round, lost in the first round, won 2 cups. And now, over the last 4 years, they've lost 4 years in a row in the first round. Still a pretty good coach, right? Like, lots of things have to happen. And where I come from, I see a lot of reasons to keep Chris Knobloch. And I know that some people are going to disagree, and you're fine to disagree. I guess I look at it and say, so because he made mistakes this year, but he made a lot of good decisions the previous 2 years. When they lost the cup in 24 and 25, they didn't lose the Stanley Cup final due to coaching. I don't think that matchups in Game 7 of 2024 is why I lost. Right? And 2026, Hyman goes out, Ekholm, Florida was just better and deeper and healthier. Right? I don't think coaching was the issue there either. So, coaching did play a factor this season. I think that's fair. And I think Knobloch would be the first to tell you, I need to have a better year next year. And you know what? They'll have to have a good start. There'll be pressure on them, no question. But if it's me, I would start next season with Chris Knobloch as the head coach. So, hey, Gregor, what about Bjorkstrand? Again, like, he's a top 9 forward. I don't like, Edmonton has lots of top 9 forwards unless they're not re-signing Kapanen. I don't know if I see the need for a Bjorkstrand. Like, what's he going to bring that the Oilers are missing? Like, the Oilers need a goalie. They got to decide what they're doing with their goaltending. There's not a lot of options in free agency. Like, Connor Ingram might be the best option, right? I know some people are going to be like, oh my God. But remember, Colorado made their changes for their 2 goalies. Then they lost in the first round. Then the next year, when both guys were there the whole year, they had a better year. And nothing's guaranteed repeatable, but lots of players have struggled the first year when they get traded. Guy like Tristan Jarry. Well, Tristan Jarry now, he has the advantage. He's going to work with his goalie coach right here in Edmonton because he lives here. He'll have a whole summer to work on the things they want him to work on and come in, and he should be motivated. No question. Come in motivated to be a team. Hey, man, I can help this team get back into being a playoff, well, not playoff contender, but a cup contender. That would be good. And that's a pretty enticing motivation if I'm him. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Go Auto. If you're looking for a vehicle, they got all to choose from. 15,000 cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, you name it, they have it. New and used, any color, over 33 different brands, 73 locations, goauto.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And then Bouchard and Darnell Earth will head to Switzerland to represent Canada at the upcoming World Hockey Championships. Also tonight, the NHL Draft Lottery starting in just under an hour. Vancouver Canucks, who finished last this season with 25 wins and 58 points, have a 25.5% chance of receiving the first overall pick. On the ice, Wild and Avs from Denver. Puck drop just after 6. Colorado leaves that series 1-0 in the association. 2 game ones tonight. Cavs and Pistons at 5. Then at 6:30, the Thunder up against the Lakers. In the majors, Toronto Blue Jays looking to bounce back against the Rays tonight. First pitch, 4:40. We've also got the Rangers and Yankees, Cubs, Reds, Brewers in St. Louis, Astros host the Dodgers, White Sox in Anaheim, Mariners host the Braves, and the Pirates up against the Diamondbacks. Rockies and Mets postponed due to weather in Denver. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear Campaig's 2-minute warning, ask 5 questions, and be joined by former NHLer Jason Strudwick. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Cheers. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
A lot of you love hockey season. But when it comes to construction season, you're not as excited unless you work for GS Construction. It's true. As one season is winding down, ours is winding up with all sorts of great projects to make the city we live in better. And our team is hiring. GS Construction is scouting for pipe layers, topmen, and heavy equipment operators. So if you want to score a great job, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
When life unexpectedly changes, it can leave us feeling unbalanced, uncertain, and unsure of how to move forward. But you don't have to go through it alone. I'm Corey Anderson with Fairway Divorce Solutions. Our team helps reestablish balance, guiding you through your divorce with compassion, clarity, and support. Fairway has helped more than 6,500 families across Canada find a path towards a peaceful, fair resolution. With 2 offices in Edmonton, we're here to make your journey easier. Discover your options at Fairway Divorce.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3, saving you more money with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit japaequipment.com or stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
The Ford It's a Big Deal event is on now. Get a big deal on a 2026 F-150 STX with Black Appearance Package. Visit your Alberta Ford store today.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. It feels good to know your fund goes further at home. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take 1 for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Let's do it.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the puck drop special at Papa John's. A large 2-topping pizza with 8-piece wings for only $28.99 with promo code PUCKDROP at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through, it is draft lottery day. Although I know what Oiler fans are like, what? Oilers don't even have a first round this year. They don't have a first rounder next year. You're not really into to draft mode unless you have a friend or family member who's going to get drafted. Then obviously you'll pay attention to it. But Will the Oilers be big players in the first round? Unlikely. They're not gonna have a pick this year. Well, I guess next year I can't say that. Who knows? Something could change. Maybe they could acquire one somehow between now and then. But I don't see them getting a first rounder this season at all. And when in their window where they're at right now, that's not a huge surprise. They do have a second and a third rounder, as well as sixth and seventh this season. That's kind of where they're at. They do have a first in 2028, but probably by the time that pick rolls around, if they're still in their window to win, then they probably won't be having that pick either. So we'll see how it goes. But the draft lottery, Oiler fans always have good memories of it, especially in 2015. Now, we don't think there's a Connor McDavid in this year's draft class. And that's why I say we don't think, because there was no hype about Macklin Celebrini nearly to the level there was Connor Bedard. And look where Celebrini is right now. So I can't say I'm pretty confident there isn't a McDavid type player in the draft, but there could be lots of really good players, right? No one thought Matthew Schaefer was going to be the player he was for the New York Islanders this year. No one was talking about that hitting in the draft last year. They thought he'd be the number one pick. A lot of people thought he was going back to junior. He'd only played 17 games. I get it. Made sense. Then the kid comes in and it's just lights out. So that's why it's always intriguing to see what's going to happen. And, there's some local guys, Verhoff and other ones that, it's going to be a huge day for them and their family at the draft this year. So regardless of where you go, it's going to be pretty damn exciting. And, there's the storyline, if you like a little pain, like the Maple Leafs go into the draft lottery at number 5. But if they walk out of there at number 6 or 7, then Boston owns their draft pick in the first round. Like, they have a lot to lose. As much as you can say they could win and move up, have a lot to lose if they drop out of the top 5. That would be a storyline. And what about the Canucks? Can they get their first ever number 1 overall pick? They would need to hold on to the draft. They don't need to win it, because if the 12 seed wins, right, they can only move up 10 spots. So just saying. There's you don't have to win it, but they would like to maintain or retain the number 1 spot. So we'll see. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 is where you can text us. We've got loads of texts coming in. I love it. We'll get to that and more. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. But first, let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Here is Cam Tate.
When I was a kid, my dad took me to Philadelphia 18 times over 5 years for a revolutionary treatment program for kids with cerebral palsy. It gave me so much more mobility. After the 5 years, I could swallow, sit up without falling down, open and close my hands, bend my legs, even walk for 36 steps. And there was a hockey component to this. A very big hockey component, in fact. You see, my dad and Keith Allen grew up together, north of North Battleford. Keith Allen, you might say? He was the Philadelphia Flyers' first coach, 1967, and went on to be the general manager, acclaiming the nickname Keith the Thief for his prowess in making trades. Dad and I stayed with the Allen family when we were in Philadelphia, and of course, went to a few games. In fact, one trip, we arrived around 4 in the afternoon. The entire Allen family picked us up at the airport. I hope you're okay with a hot dog for dinner tonight, Mr. Allen said. We're playing St. Louis, and we're going to the game now. Hope it's okay if you eat at the rink. I was a big Flyers fan. Even today, if Philly is on TV, I tune in. Like last night, I was hoping they would hang on to their 2-goal third-period lead. And even the best-of-7 series against the Hurricanes at 1 game apiece. But it was not to be, as Carolina scored 3 unanswered goals, including the overtime winner. I was much too young to remember the culture, the blue-collar work ethic of Philadelphia, and the sports fans they have. Whether it's Flyers, Eagles, Phillies, 76ers. But I can remember quite well, actually, the warm, at-home feeling my dad and I always felt when we landed in Philadelphia. I'm sure the Flyers felt that way when they landed sometime very early today in Philly, down 2 games. Thank you for letting me wheel down memory lane. I hope you too have a feeling about going back somewhere has a special meaning. And if it involves sport, it doesn't get much better. 2-minute warning, Gregor, Hallie, Kruger. This is Cam Tate. Sports 1440.
Oh, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Eh? They can be pretty fiery at times, which is awesome. Love it. More texts coming in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, why do people think the Oilers won't be contending next season? Maybe I'm a homer, but I don't feel like the Oilers have fallen off a cliff as much as some are saying. That one comes in from Daniel. I would tend to agree with you, Daniel. I think when all the dust settles and we get to the start of next season, the Edmonton Oilers are going to be one of 8 teams that people view as a legit Stanley Cup contender. You still have McDavid. You still have Draisaitl. You still have Bouchard. You're going to have Hyman. You're going to have the majority of their defense. Like there might be a few changes on the roster, but they'll be rested. They'll be motivated. So I don't see, I know the Anaheim Ducks beat them. Yes. They also beat them when the Oilers had McDavid with a fracture, Dickinson with a fracture, Henrique out of the lineup, Draisaitl coming back. You can't pretend that wasn't a factor, right? And it's not like the Ducks were a defensive dominant team by any stretch of imagination. So I think the Ducks will be good. The Ducks are coming up, but I'm not ready yet to just say, oh, anoint the Ducks. They're ready to fly to the top of the Pacific and soar well above the Oilers. I think that might be a little bit premature. I think the Ducks will be a competitive team. But I look at Edmonton, and I think they will be, right? I expect Colorado's going to be good next year. I think Minnesota's going to be good again next year. Oh, nothing tells me Carolina won't be good, right? The Atlantic Division's got a lot of good teams. Like I think Florida is going to be able to come back. Although they got a lot of older guys, though. What are they going to do? I'll be curious. Like, are they going to bring Bob back? I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I think a good organization, when you have an older goalie like that, I know they sign everybody else, but maybe they look and say, man, because if you look back at the teams who won, the biggest mistakes the teams win is they maintain the guys after they've won, thinking they can happen again. And it's just harder, especially when you get older. So, like the Edmonton Oilers in the future are going to have to do that. They're going to have to let some of the, guys that are getting older go. It's just how it goes. So now Oiler fans are hoping you win, and it's obviously easier to do it after you've won. But I don't know if I'm Florida. I think Tarasov might be their answer. Now, if you could sign Bobrovsky on a 2-year deal at $3 or $4 million, well, now we're talking. But, the original ask was like a 4-year deal at 9+. I don't see that happening. So, and I get why he would ask, because everybody else got rewarded. So I can understand why it never hurts to ask, right? Like, look what Brad Marchand got you. And he was there for 1 cup, not 2. Right? Like, all those guys are signed to 2030 and beyond. 2033 for Bennett and Verhaeghe. Right? Marchand signed till 2031, and he was over 35 when he got it. Aaron Ekblad's 2033, Seth Jones 2030, Gustav Forsling 2032, Mikko Mikola's 2034. So I'm sure Bobrovsky's sitting there like, wait a sec. I was a pretty big part of this team. You signed everybody else. Now, he is coming off a $10 million contract. He got paid. No problem. He got paid. But I'll be curious to see what they do there. I could see them coming back, but I don't know if he's going to get the money that he's asking for. Hey, guys, what about Gustafsson in Minnesota from Chris? Well, here's my question. When you look at Wallstead and game 1 of this series, why are you in a rush to have to trade away Gustafsson if you're Minnesota? And if you're trading him away, you're probably trying to trade him for a second line center. So I think Wallstead has one more year at $2.2 million. Why wouldn't you keep it? So I think they're combined at $9 million, right? Because Gustafson's new deal kicks in next year at 6.8. They're in no cap rush yet. They can't have Gustafson and Wallstead in 27-28 when Gustafson's probably going to be asking for 6+ himself, right? So I get that. But I don't know why Minnesota would rush to do it if it's me. And if I feel like my teams are really competitive and I got two good goalies, I don't have to overplay one of them. I also have a security blanket in case one gets injured. I don't know if I do it unless, and I don't know if Edmonton has what they want, number one, because they're going to want a second line center. I think that's what they need in Minnesota. And you're not trading Gustafson for Draisaitl. Hey, Gregor, what about Coast in Detroit? Well, we've talked about Detroit quickly, and they got Trey Augustine coming in, but he can be their starter in the American League, and Costa can be the backup with John Gibson in the NHL. If I'm Detroit, why the hell would I trade him? Like, am I going to bring in Trey Augustine as a raw rookie right to the NHL? Why wouldn't I let him get comfortable in the American League for a little bit? Maybe he's ready. He might be. So you could trade him, but if you're Edmonton, yeah, you could go after Costa maybe, but at what cost? It always comes down to it. But if I'm Detroit, and man, like, I probably want some security and depth at the goaltending position here, just in case. I think the team to look at is Buffalo. I've talked about it. They've got, UPL. You got Alex Lyon is playing great, and then you got Devin Levi. Are they going to want to roll it back? They could run it back because Devin Levi does not require waivers yet. Let me double check that. I don't think he does. So, it's not going to be, he probably wouldn't be happy with it. But he just finished. He played 3. Oh no, did he burn a year of his entry level deal? Oof, I got to look up. He might be. If that year when he signed and came out, he might be waiver eligible next year. I'd have to look it up. So that could change it potentially. And then Buffalo would be an option. And who are they going to want to move? Right? I might argue that Alex Lyon's the guy you'd want, but if I'm Buffalo, that's probably the guy I don't want to trade. We'll come back. Jason.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Increase resistance to stress and support memory enhancement with new Roots Herbals Ashwagandha. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month. To ensure this product is right for you, always read and follow the label.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product, or breakfast burrito with hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5. Plus taxes. Available until 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Join play-by-play announcer Ben Showman for the games live on Sports 1440. The Toronto Blue Jays are on Edmonton's home for all things sports. Sports 1440.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good to go.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Hacks, the acclaimed Max original, praised as magnificent and a love letter to life in the comedy trenches, takes its final bow.
When you're away from the spotlight, you have time to think about what really matters.
And you can only stream it on Crave.
The Spotlight!
Starring Emmy Award winners Jean Smart and Hannah Einbinder in the fearless comedic pairing critics and fans adore. Hacks, the final season. Stream now only on Crave. Subscribe at crave.ca.
No more every back. Silence ever.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Rent it, run it, get it serviced. Japa Equipment Rentals have you covered from their shop to your job site. Alberta's construction pros have counted on Japa for rentals and service since 1972. JapaMachinery.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
What a lovely Tuesday. How are you? Hey, it's getting nicer outside. Doesn't it just put a smile on your face? I know Oiler fans, you're still in mourning that the season's over. I get it. I understand it. But it'd be worse if it's still snowing. So at least it's nice out. That's good news as it's time to get to the oil report brought to you by GoAuto.ca. Not only do they sell a lot of vehicles, they give back a lot to the community. Over $27 million they have given back to local charities and put back in the communities where they work. That's GoAuto.ca with the oil report and Spreads On.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struds On.
I don't believe in tea bags. I use loose leaf tea, and it is so much better than the tea bags. I'll eat tea bags. I'll
Struds On.
I'm not a huge DJ guy. I mean, I guess if you hand me a couple glow sticks and a tight white t-shirt that I can get wet, maybe I'd be into it.
Struds On.
There's a lone steakhouse I used to go to down in Kentucky, and they had bowls of peanuts. I wasn't sucking on those ones. So, I mean, you need to have clean nut. I'm talking about the kind you get in a bag at an Elks game. You know what I mean?
It's time for Struds On.
Strutty, how you doing?
Great. How you guys making out?
Oh, pretty good, buddy. Pretty good on a Tuesday. The lots to discuss. Give me your thoughts, Strutty, as a guy who's coached. What would you do? Like, would you bring Knobloch back next season?
Man, listen, he's done a lot of good things here with his team. But I think about the GM, I'd want to just review, maybe his approach to, I think the PK and the defensive end of the game, it was a really sore spot for the group this year. I don't think that's really anything crazy. So, how did he do it? What was the plan with the players? And then what was the response by the players to that? Now, this isn't all in the coaching, just like it isn't all in the players. But, defending is a desire to do it properly. And, the PK, it killed them in the playoffs. And where we saw some of those goals, specifically the 2 goals by Cutter Gauthier from the left dot. I mean, that is, it's everyone knows you can't let a shooter shoot from that spot. So was that system, was that player? I know Knobloch talked about his post game. So I'd want to sit down and really have a talk with them and say, okay, where are things at here? And then how did your assistant coaches, how did they work? What did they do? And talk with them as well and figure out where all that fits together. Because I mean, he's got them to 2 finals. And this year, you know, according to the players and the GM, they took a step back.
Yeah, they did. I think the players, some of themselves took a step back, right? Hey, Draisaitl said, hey, my defensive game wasn't where it's at to be. I looked at, Chris Knobloch, I think, like players, not every year is going to be your best year for players, right? And I kind of look at Knobloch as a guy who was like a 35 goal scorer for 2 years and dropped down to 21, and you're kind of like, what the hell happened? Right. But it doesn't mean I'm ready yet to just want to throw him out. I agree with you on the penalty kill. Now, they revamped the penalty kill system. Mark Stewart, that was his baby, right? He was in charge of your penalty kill. He was in charge of your defense. And then Paul Coffey came back and he was demoted. Like, I don't see any chance that, like, and I know Stewart was rightfully so upset. I can't see any way he's coming back. Can you?
Well, no, I mean, they brought someone in to do your job.
Yeah.
Someone, and you know, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the last 2 years, like not this year, but the 2 previous, I think the Oilers were like 15, 16, somewhere in there on the penalty kill. Then this year dropped down. So Stewart was there and he was running that PK, or a big part of the solution. And then for whatever reason, this year dropped back. And, you know, the power play was great. There's no doubt about it, but it cooled down in the playoffs as well. So you're starting behind the 8 ball. So, you know, it feels like, you know, I think a bit of the timing last year with bringing in new coaches, and this is no disrespect to the group that was there, but, you know, if you want to try to get coaches, now's the time to do it, right? Just before when Knobloch was getting his assistants, that's pretty late in the game. Everyone else has kind of filled up their spots. So I'll be really interested to see how this plays out. But I would definitely want to sit down with my coach and my assistant coaches and just talk me through what you were trying to do and what the players' reaction to that was.
Yeah. No, that's fair, right? They tried the system, which most other teams are playing in the NHL, and it didn't work, right? For a variety of reasons, it didn't work, and it really cost them in the playoffs, and that to me is totally valid. So I think it's something that they have to look at, and because outside of Bruce Cassidy, and like, I don't know, man, I'm not sold that Bruce Cassidy would be the guy for Edmonton. Where do you come in?
Well, he's pretty heavy-handed, I think, and you know, it's just running away from your coach every time there's a tough time is I think that's not the best setup. Can you change the complexion of this group by bringing in different assistants? Maybe, you know, that's a possibility too, right? Yep. More veteran. I've heard you talk about it. A veteran hand that's been around a little longer. They can, you know, maybe, hey man, now's the time to push this group, or now's the time to whatever, right? And a different set of eyes. And maybe that's what Gullickson's, you know, part of his role obviously was when he was here for a long time. Yeah, so to me, I'm fascinated about how this shakes out, the coaching and then the goaltending situation. Those are 2 areas to really monitor if you're an Oilers fan.
Yeah. Struddy, you look at the offseason for the Oilers, and you look at some players like Jack Roslovic. I'm not sure I see a fit here, not because he wasn't good, but because they want to open up a spot for Isaac Howard, right? And I think they're kind of similar in styles and everything. And hey, Roslovic's 3-time 20-goal scorer, so they hope that Howard can become that in the future. Adam Henrique, probably not coming back. Curtis Lazar, probably not coming back. Matthias Janmark was injured. He fixed his shoulder after 2 years of a bum shoulder. He's got 1 year left. I assume he's coming back. The question is the blue line. And where do you come out on allocation of minutes? Like, there's lots of talk, trade Darnell Nurse. Well, first of all, he has to agree to it, number one. And my understanding is they've never asked him to waive his no movement clause. So I know there's some reports that you can talk whatever, but he's never been asked to waive his no movement clause. So that's never happened, my understanding. But if you trade Darnell Nurse, you have to be bringing back a defenseman who can play 19-plus minutes.
Yeah. It's funny. Everyone wants to move everybody out. But, you know, they don't just, those guys don't grow on trees, right? Now, you can debate the value of that contract and is it too high or whatever. That's fine. But you got to bring in someone else that can fill those minutes. Now, maybe you can get someone a little bit cheaper, but, you know, if you move Nurse out And that, I'm guessing then even if you don't trade him, you're probably keeping Murphy. I think Murphy's a guy that makes a lot of sense for this group. So that brings Wallman up a spot, and now you got to find the third pairing, and maybe you can find someone in free agency or do a trade that'll fill that spot. But I'm very interested to see on this back end, because to start this year, I said this is the best decor McDavid's ever had. And this year didn't quite play out like that as consistently as I thought. I thought it'd be a real strong part of the group, and it wasn't. Then they moved out Kulak, they brought in Murphy. They've seemed to calm things down. But Emerson took a step forward. I think he's locked in that third pairing. Stastny didn't play much at the end of the year in the playoffs, so where does that leave him? Is he the seventh guy? Probably, I guess, heading in there. But if I'm the GM, I'm looking for the way to bring Murphy back, because he was a nice compliment to Darnell Nurse.
Oh God, Murphy, I think he's a for sure to me. And I think it's a mutual like from both sides, my understanding, and in talking to Connor and talking to the Oilers organization, Struds. I think he was a really good fit. They played hard. The one thing that I want to ask you about, because, you're kind of a cerebral defenseman. I think it's, fair to say that your brain was probably, a bigger asset than necessarily your natural skill. So I look at Darnell Nurse, and you can say it's unlucky, Struds, and all these goals are own goals, but some of them are bad positioning. Are they not?
Well, let's go back to the penalty kill example I was using. So the first one, Matthias Ekholm was well off the dot, and, he just allowed Cutter to walk in and set a bomb. Okay. I think you got to hold that dot line. Now, every system is different. So that'd be the system I would run. The next time, Cutter walks in, and Darnell, he's off to the side, not in the shoe lane, but his stick's in the shoe lane. Cutter shoots it, goes off Nurse's stick, trickles over top. I think that was Ingram in that net. And there. So, I would rather have my body in that shoe lane than my stick. I truly feel like a better chance of knocking that puck down or it hitting you. Whereas your stick, unless you're getting stick on puck where maybe you're reaching forward and it goes to pucks in the air, I think it's a hard rebound a hard ricochet for the puck halfway to the net to all of a sudden, in that case, go over. So again, no, I mean, there's two veteran defensemen with two goals that are, essentially the same. A guy walking from the top, from the hash, or from the dot line, the dot scoring. So is that their system, or is that imperfect play? I'd be really interested to know that, because that's two guys that they should know and play the system as the coach wants.
Yeah. I look sometimes at some of the decisions where a big guy with big, strong reach, and I look at front of the net and I'm kind of like, man, and I watch how some other guys defend. Like, to me, there's lots of just little positioning error, Struds. And, Brownie talked about it on that one, on the overtime goal. It goes, Nurse, you got to cut underneath the guy rather than on top of him, right? And why are you cross-check him in the back and leaving his stick wide open, right? Like that doesn't really work in it nowadays. Like, it's not good defending, right? Like, you're not doing anything. The guy's bent over. You give him a cross-check in the back. You're doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
You're not even tying up his stick.
No, and Kreider he blocked him out.
Yeah.
Like he came, and Kreider backed into him, and that's a veteran guy that knows that around the net. But as a veteran D, you got to know that's coming, right? So how do I do it? Do I jump in front of him instead of staying behind him, and now I'm boxed out, and that big bum of Kreider's is just there, kind of taking up a lot of space. So you've got to see that, and almost your spider sense has to be tingling as you see that play developing, thinking, this is not good. I can't be on the backside of this play.
Yeah, 100%, right? And then he says you got to force to get the space underneath it. And, we'll kind of see, where it goes from here. But I know there's lots of talk about trading Nurse. I don't know anybody's tradable for me. But you can't just give away Darnell Nurse when you've got Matthias Ekholm getting older and you've got Jake Wallman, who, if you crunch the numbers, is the guy who's going to miss 15 to 25 games a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe it changes and maybe it becomes Brent Burns, because Brent Burns missed games and then suddenly misses no games. So you never know, but we'll see. What about the Oilers are kind of, you're entering the coaching hiring phase, right? Like, May is the time to get coaches, right? May, early June. And last year, because of the timing of it, they weren't in a position really to get the veteran coaches, because most of them were gone by the time Galton got the job in Dallas, right? And I get why they had to wait, right? Because, hey, you offer him that job. He didn't get it until early July, if memory's correct, or maybe it was June 30th. I can't remember the exact day. It might even be later. So they should be better window to find assistant coach replacements. And you talked about it. Do you believe they like I know on the bench, Knobloch always seems pretty calm, right? Like he never really seems to get overly wound up. Now, as a player, do you like a calm coach, or do you want like once a year your coach to freak out on the ref?
Yeah, so I mean, I had Charlie Huddy. I love Charlie Huddy. He would, you'd make a mistake. He didn't come and just hammer on you when you went in there, but he would come and talk to you later and say, "Hey, man, like this was the play. This is how we played," and on and on. There are times where a coach has to light his team up. Absolutely light them up. Now, if you light us up every day, by Christmas, we're done. We've already heard you light us up. We don't need to continue to hear this song and dance. But there are specific times over it. The problem is it has to be real, because I've had coaches where they try to light us up and I'm like, you're not even mad. You're just doing this because it's a show.
Right.
But then there are some that would lose it and you're like, oh my God, this guy, we might die in here. Someone called security. So there's a fine line. So you've got to be really careful about how much you do it. And then if you never do it, it's also a challenge in there. Now, there's also a way of doing it with limiting ice time. That gets attention really quickly, right? When you skip a guy or he doesn't get on the penalty kill or power play, sitting veterans out, that's fairly dramatic. We've seen, Tortorella did to their captain in Couturier there in Vegas, in Philly a couple of years ago. That's pretty excessive, but missing some ice time, that definitely gets your attention. So yes, there needs to be some time, but I like a calm bench, because when you get worked up as a coach, that opens the door for your players to do the same, and then you lose control.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's, freaking out all the time. You do it once in a blue moon. And sometimes it's almost comical for the players. You're sitting there and all of a sudden your coach is just like, coach is losing. Oh, I love it. Right. And especially if he loses it where he's backing, he feels like he's got your back, right? Like he's going after an offside or a penalty or something. And you're like, he's not losing it on the team. He's necessarily losing it on the players. Right. Because I know that, and I'm sure you've seen it, right? You've seen the Paul Maurice video and you guys, you got run them in Game 7 against Boston, right? And I get the video. But the thing was, the Florida Panthers, that was their MO. They were a team that played. You can't yell and scream at guys if your team isn't that. And I know people are like, well, make them that way. Well, Strutty, you played. You can't make guys what they're not.
No, you can't. But so you have to bring guys in that are. They do stir the drink, right? And they those guys are pretty hard to find, especially at the top in your lineup. But can you find a couple guys in the middle to the bottom? Like I think Curtis Lazar was one of those guys. Just come in, bring energy, and he was chirpy and he's funny and all that stuff. So there's value in that, right? That kind of gets it going. The problem is he plays 8 minutes a night, right? And so he's not out there at those higher moments. You look at the Oilers, their guys are intense, but they're not the loudest group. The most boisterous group of players. You look at Hyman or Nuge or Connor or Leon, Savoy, a rookie came in. You're not expecting him to be that kind of loud guy, but you do need some loud players that come in and bring that energy to your group and find ways to get it going when maybe it's not there. And that's not just games, Greg. That's, on non-game days, that's in practices, getting energy going through your lineup. And it's hard. It's hard to find them because teams, once they get them, usually they hang on to them.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Jason Strudwick joins us. Struddy, you look at the playoffs and you see Taylor Hall and the Carolina Hurricanes, and Hall's playing like he's a Hart Trophy winner again. He's he's dominating, he's physical, he's scoring big goals, and Philadelphia last night, man, did they have a chance to win that game? Like, how many breakaways can you miss?
Yeah, I love that series, and man, I love the way the Hurricanes play. That would be so painful to play against them because you can strip the numbers and the name bars off, and they all come the same. They're bringing it, whether it's Martinook or Stankoven or Aho, or it doesn't matter. They come at you in wave after wave and speed and make you make mistakes. They just wear you down. They just absolutely wear you down. And you're right, that line of Blake Hall and Stankoven, that's a hell of a line. Like I think they're their first line, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. They're their team, but they play at such a high pace. That it's tough. And so for Philly, that was a huge opportunity. They're up 2-0 before the anthem singer even took their seat. And then, Carolina just works their way back into it, just grinding away, getting chances, and they found a way. So that's a tough one. But Philly, Rick Tocchet, he's a pretty good coach, a really good coach actually. But that Carolina team, they're going to be tough. And let's just say they win this in 5. Buffalo and Montreal haven't even started yet. So they're going to be fresh. And that team, when they're fresh and not injured, that's going to be a tough Eastern Conference final for whomever gets them.
One last one for you, Strutty. The draft lottery, who's winning it? Like, not who will end up with the number one pick? Because it doesn't.
Well, I'll tell you who won.
Okay, who's gonna?
Well, I'll tell you who won yesterday. Well, the hockey world won watching that Leafs press conference yesterday. That was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen. That was awkward. I mean, I wish those guys luck, because that is not a good start. So maybe they deserve it. Maybe the Leafs deserve the first overall pick for that start. But you know what? Honestly, buddy, I'd like to see Canucks get it. I think they've had a lot of tough times as a team the last couple of years, and they do have quite a few pretty decent young players. And you add another stud in there like McKenna, there might be something there for Canucks fans.
Oh, going with your former team. I love it, Strutty. I love it. They always got to be loyal. There you go. What are you? What did you make? You mentioned that press conference. What do you make of that hiring?
You know, Matt Sundin is a great Leaf, an unreal NHL player. Doesn't have a ton of experience, but I think that it sounded to me like he really wants to work on the team aspect, right? The culture and getting the right fit in there, and maybe helping the leadership group and all that stuff. I get that. You know, Chaika, been out of it for a while. His time in Arizona was, you know, at best, you know, average, I guess. There's some odd decisions he made there. And it just, you know, if you hired a group and this is the best they can find, I mean, is that really money well spent? So I'll be interested to see. It doesn't feel right? I'm not even a Leafs fan, but it just feels like it was odd decision. Then who's reporting to who? I mean, they're both going to. I mean, Pelly keeps saying, well, they're both going to be involved in high level decisions, but it doesn't really work that way. So ultimately, someone has to be in charge.
Yeah,
I'm in charge. You're my right hand man, and you can have an opinion, but at the end of the day, Greg, it's my ass on the line, so I'm calling it out, right? So I'm really interested to see how that works out. I have a bad feeling about this. What about you?
Well, it is interesting. Now, I'm not going to claim that I talked to 20 people in the NHL circles, but I did talk to a few, and there definitely was some concerns in how Chaika went about things, and just maybe like a little bit of a untrustworthy is the word I would use. So I think that's now, did he grow from it? Maybe, but there are like certain things are hard to change, right? Like this is not a guy who made a bad draft pick or made a bad trade. Like every GM's got bad trades in there, right? Doesn't matter. Like ask anybody in fantasy sports if they made a bad trade. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
Or if you're Struz, you just make bad trade offers. Either way. But I look at it, and first of all, Toronto's in a tough spot here, regardless of who their GM was. You're taking over a franchise that hasn't won forever, so there's tons of pressure there for that. But you when you look back at the decisions they've made over the last many years that have compounded the issue, and now it's kind of like it reached the boiling point where they lost Mitch Marner for basically Nicholas Waugh, right? Which is obviously a one-sided trade. And then they end up trading Waugh away later to Colorado anyway. Now it's like, what do we do? Like Austin Matthews, is he going to be healthy again? Ever? I don't know, right? Like William Nylander's a really good player, but he's not a leader, right? Like when the chips are down, he's not the guy that's going to drive you through. He's just not that guy.
No, it's tough, man. It's a tough spot, and they have none of the assets that would be in line of deep Stanley Cup runs or deep playoff runs, right? And that's the problem. So, it sounds like they want to make the playoffs, and I get that. But maybe this is where we're going to trade these guys and we're going to get assets and start over again. But that's not really the appetite for that. So they could be that middling group for a long time, buddy. And that's how I feel for Sundin. I don't know Chaika at all, but Mats, I'd like to see him do well. But man, it sure feels like they put themselves in a tough spot.
Yeah. Oh God, have they ever? Strutty, always good to catch up with you, buddy. We will chat with you next Tuesday. Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy. Bye.
There you go. That's Jason Strudwick. Got Your Back podcast. We'll take a quick break. We got 5 questions or more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
New at Papa John's, the spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Say it with me now. Spinach Alfredo sauce, grilled chicken, fresh Roma tomatoes, all on our fresh, never frozen pizza dough. 4 favorites, 1 pizza. So let's run it back. The spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Right now, a large for just $18.99. Delivery or carry out. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit, no credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Mr. Rooter gets attacked by a Canada goose.
Oh, look at that. Another on-time arrival. Nothing stops Mr. Rooter from plumbing on schedule. You gotta be kidding me. Hello, Mr. Goose. I'm Mr. Rooter. Okay, this is what you train for. Through rain, sleet, or goose, the pipes get fixed.
For a plumber who does whatever it takes, Mr. Rooter.
It's like a locker room, minus the smell.
Ew.
Kevin Carius brings the banter, the buzz, and the bold sports talk. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Sports 1440, Edmonton's home for sports.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
The tents are up and the deals are out. The Brick's biggest sale of the season is on now. Pick up to 60% off clearance items in the tents. Sofas start at $3.99 and save up to 50% on select mattresses. Get a sofa, coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and dining set, all for less than $1,500. Only at the Brick's tent sale. See in store for details and exclusion. The Brick, saving you more.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. Bashaw.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca. Articles, podcasts, and more breaking down the green and gold. The most in-depth double football coverage online, elksnation.ca.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
We roll through. Ooh, one guy is red hot right now, sizzling hot. Okamoto with another one. Okamoto, excuse me, with another jack in the first inning tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, do you think, is Vladdy ever going to get in? Is he just going to hit like 14 home runs this year? Like, I know it's only May, but dude, the guy's got 2 round trippers. That's it. Like right now, it seems all he can do is hit singles. And that's great to hit singles, but he needs some power at some point. So we'll see if it would really help the Jays if he could get going with the big stick a little bit more. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And right now, tent sale is on. Today through to the weekend. How about this deal? You can get a sofa, a coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and a dining set for less than $1,500. Only at the Brick's tent sale. Right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. If you had to predict, who do you think will be the Oilers' #1 goalie next season?
Ooh, good question, Con Man. Well, I'm going to be boring. Tristan Jarry.
Probably safe. I'm going to go Connor Ingram. I'm going to say that he ends up back with Edmonton and becomes a starting goalie. Question number 2. Who do you think will end up with the first overall pick tonight in the draft lottery?
Go ahead.
I'm kind of with Strutty. I think it's going to be the Vancouver Canucks. Obviously, best odds to do so. I did a mock. They won. My second place team in that mock, Gregor, the Florida Panthers. How crazy would that be? But I'm going with the Vancouver Canucks.
Really? Okay. So you got the Canucks. So Florida would what are they? 8, right? So they'd move up from 8 spot. Nashville can go up to 10. I'm gonna go Calgary Flames.
Ooh.
Shock the world.
Question number 3 for you. PlayAlberta.ca has the over-under for the Wild Avs game at 6.5. We had 15 goals last time these two teams met. How many goals do you think will be scored tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be less than 15, unfortunately, because that would be unbelievable. But you know me, I'm picking over. I think that tonight we'll have a total of 7.
Give me 8. I'll say 5-3. Don't know who wins, but 5-3 will be my final score. We found it today. Evan Bouchard, Darnell, they're going to represent Canada at the upcoming World Championships. Do you think any other Oilers end up representing their country?
I do think there are some other possibilities of guys who could be going. So who do I think? Szymanski's going to go for Germany for sure. So I'll say him. I do not expect Leon Draisaitl to go, but I wonder about Kasperi Kapanen. So those are the guys.
I was with you with Kapanen. That was a name that I thought for sure keep on playing. Only got a chance to get into 41 games this year due to injury. So why not go get a few more? And I kind of thought potentially Rostovich. I don't know. I'd have to go see obviously the American roster and who's available, but I think I'd probably cap it at there. I think a lot of the guys deservedly so. Just got to take that rest. Final question for you today is Cinco de Mayo. So 2-part question. What is the go-to Mexican meal? And you're vacationing in Mexico. Which city are you going to?
Ooh. Well, I've only ever been to one. So I'll go with what I know. Cancun.
And Mexican meal?
I love soft tacos. Very simple, very good. Soft tacos.
Yeah, can't really beat that. I might
with Mexi fries. I should.
Ooh, there you go. I'll probably go with a quesadilla. The quesadilla power going, and those are just delicious. And then I've been to Cancun, but let's go the other way. Playa del Carmen, a little quieter. I liked Cancun, but I like a big city, so I'll go the other direction from the airport and a little more chill down there.
Okay, there you go. I like it. Connor Halley, Jays fans might like the start. Connor Halley will update you on that. We got Spec and DVD coming up in the final hour. More from Stan Bowman as well. It's also, man, it's NBA playoffs. It's NHL playoffs. You got, now, I don't know if you saw it or not, Cons. Last night, Barry had a huge win. They were down 3-1 in the series. They come back. They win the series, which is fantastic. They win it in 7. The problem was after the game, they just their head coach had a real moment of just immaturity. Dylan Smotzkowicz is their head coach, and so what happened after the game? If I'm sure you maybe have seen the press conference or not, but they had it at the press, and basically every answer that they answered was just with their team motto, right? No one cares, work harder. And that's what they said. Now, they were upset because the coach, he wanted a few more players there, but in a lot of these arenas, like, you have a small little area, a table, and you can only have 2 people at a time. And so basically he had a little temper tantrum, and so that's what they came out with. And his captain, Kashawn Atchison, who's a draft pick of the Islanders, not put in a great spot, and that's what they answered. Now, I will give the coach credit. comes out today and admits, you know what? That was my lead. He took charge because he's the coach, right? The players aren't taking that lead because the coach would say, guys, we're not doing that. And he owned up to it. And I give him a ton of credit because you know what? Mistakes are going to happen. And now you end it. The guy's like, guess what? It was a bad decision on my part. I regret it. It was dumb. It didn't hurt anyone. It was a waste of time. Didn't hurt anyone. But that to me is a great example of that's how you own something. You make a mistake, you own it. You didn't make any excuses. Right? Because your team just won a series that no one expected you to win. Brantford was they were up 3-1, and you come back and win 3 straight. It's massive. And now no one remembers that because of the stupid press conference. So good on him for quickly getting in front of it, owning up to it, and saying, yeah, I screwed up. Because, hey, we'll all make mistakes. But, man, that was a bad look. So, thankfully, they stepped up today, and he said, you know what? Big error on my part. And now you move along, and, we'll see what Barrie does. That was a big win, though, for them. And the WHL final should be PA and Everett. And I'm telling you, man, there is some really good young defensemen in that series that you're going to want to watch. Top D-men on both teams. It's going to be a very good series. Now let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC, where 0% financing right now on heavy duty trucks and 0% financing on half tons right now at northgategm.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, Evan Bouchard and Darnell Nurse are heading to Switzerland to represent Canada at the upcoming Men's World Championship. Tonight, it is the NHL Draft Lottery getting going in a few minutes here from the NHL Network studio. Vancouver Canucks to finish last in the NHL with a 25.5% chance of receiving the first overall pick, with Gavin McKenna as the projected number 1 overall selection. On the ice tonight, Avs and Wild from Denver. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock in the association. 2 game ones this evening. Pistons and Cavs at 5, and then at 6:30 got the Lakers taking on the Thunder. Major League Baseball Jays are in action at bottom of the second. They lead 2-0. Kevin Gausman on the mound for the Bluebirds. Elsewhere, Orioles up on the Marlins 3-1. The Red Sox lead the Tigers 3-2 in the first, and the Nationals have a 1-0 lead over the Twins in the second. Later tonight, Yankees host the Rangers, Guardians at the KC, Astros up against the Dodgers, Braves, Mariners, Giants, Padres, and the Diamondbacks taking on the Pirates, Brewers, Cards, Rockies, Mets, both postponed due to weather. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
New at Papa John's, the spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Say it with me now. Spinach Alfredo sauce, grilled chicken, fresh Roma tomatoes, all on our fresh, never frozen pizza dough. 4 favorites, 1 pizza. So let's run it back. The spinach Alfredo chicken tomato pizza. Right now, a large for just $18.99. Delivery or carry out. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction. That's
it.
Cool.
Is.
What about the street lighting? Yep.
It is draft lottery day.
Drilling, hydrovacuum,
although I know what order
and telecommunication work. Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Jason Gregor isn't just a sports guy. He's a community builder with over $3 million raised for local charities. And his Gregor Foundation, he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Gregor weekday afternoons on Sports 1440.
Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, junior chicken, or chicken snack wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payments. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Just after 5 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. How are you? Welcome back. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hope you are having a fantastic Tuesday. Of course, NBA, NHL playoffs ongoing. You can get into PlayAlberta.ca, get in some odd boost specials. Also, it is Lotto Max, $65 million. There is also 65 $100,000 prizes and 8 max millions. So do the math. That all adds up to $79.5 million. Good luck tonight at PlayAlberta.ca. The CFL training camp gets going this weekend as well, as everything will be getting going on Mother's Day, which is nice. Hey, you know, is that where you would you want to go to visit mom down at or take mom down to watch training camp? Maybe, but I will say this: one thing I do know, I don't know a lot, but brunch, because we had a few of you texting, Gregor, where's that place you mentioned for brunch? Oh, Hallow Bar and Bistro, right at the airport. It is unreal. And so this year, they've kind of added a twist. I've gone there a few years. I take my mom and my mother-in-law and my wife, and I go. I love brunch, so I'm a huge brunchy. I don't even know if that's a proper term or not, but they have brunch. And this year, they've added a little classier, like the high tea brunch as well. There's live entertainment. The food is unreal. You get welcome mimosas and more. So if you're looking for a brunch and you're like, geez, I don't know what to do, check out Hallow Bar and Bistro for all of you on the south side, right? If you want to check it out, It is great. Right at the it's right at the airport at the Renaissance Hotel. So when you go up to the airport and you go into, I guess, depending if you park in the parkade left, but that white hotel right on the right, it's right there. Also includes free parking. So I would recommend booking today. Check it out, and it'll be awesome. Now, let's get to the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists, and they're hiring top men, operators, pipe layers. I got openings for you. And if you're just looking to start a career, go to gsconstruction.ca, look up careers. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us as the draft lottery is ongoing. Spec, quickly, give me your pick. Who's going to hold the number one pick tonight when it's all said and done?
I hope it's Vancouver, but I'm going to give you somebody else because their luck is terrible in this thing. So how about Calgary?
Calgary. All right.
Yeah.
That's actually what I said earlier, funny enough. So
this is one of those drafts where I don't know if I necessarily want the first pick. Maybe you let everybody else pick for you and take who you get. I'm not sure that I see in this draft, I don't know, 5 years from now, we may say Verhoff's the best guy. Man, I wish we'd have picked fifth and taken him. Not unlike the Yakupov draft, right?
Yeah. So now how they do the
6, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, and so now how they do the draft is they do the combination codes, right? And so they pick out the 4 numbers and boom, that it's not just like the logo comes out, it's you got to have the combination. I think it's 7 and 3 right now that have come out first. So we'll see. And because each team has a select amount of numbers and everything like that. So It's kind of wild to see what happens. But we've had a few extra days, Spec. I wrote today about the Oilers and the need to kind of be patient. And I'm not sold I see any big changes in the offseason for the Oilers. Do you?
I don't know. I think it's going to start, put it this way, we can't plan any changes until we know who's making them. And I think
that's what I mean. But that's a big change if you feel that, do you think there's a GM change?
I don't know. That's what's going on right now is everyone's figuring out, are we keeping our coach? I think we're keeping the general manager and the president. But unfortunately, these decisions are being made at a level where I don't have sources. I can't phone Daryl Cates' right-hand guy and get a bunch of information. And to me, it's at that level. It's Jackson and above, right, that are making calls here. So it could be from nothing to lots. It depends on which way the wind's blowing in Daryl Cates' office. The way I see it anyway. What about you?
I don't see the need for it. Now, I admit I'm never one. I don't like to make the rash because it's easy to be a hot take. I could come on here and be like, fire Stan Bowman and do chanting and everything and have all these reasons to fire him because I was looking, I'm like, hey, I get the Frederick signing does not look good. Let's call a spade here. The first year of the deal was awful. The last few years of the deal, I don't think are going to be good. You got to hope that the next 2 or 3 years of the deal are good, right? Can he get back to being a 15-goal scorer? If he does, then okay, you can kind of live with it, but we'll see. The Tristan Jarry trade for the first year did not work out for Edmonton. No one can debate that. Did not work out. However, because he has 2 years left, it still has time to work out. Now, I can't say for sure if it will. I'm just saying we all know that's a possibility. What if, who knows? Maybe the trade, like he took a car service from Pittsburgh. You're all of a sudden like, oh, geez, I'm in a car on the road to Toronto. And now I'm getting traded, right? Like, I don't know if that impacted him all spec. The fact that he got hurt in his third start, that probably impacted him more, if I'm being honest. But he wouldn't be the first guy who gets traded and didn't have great success during that year of being traded. So can he bounce back? He has the advantage now that his goalie coach is right here in Edmonton, Pete Aubry, right? Jarry lives here. He can work out at the Oilers training facility all summer long, right? Work with his goalie coach. Matt Savoy is going to be there. Colton Dock's going to be there. That's an advantage, right? So you get all the training, you get everything. If you want to do massages afterwards, they offer all that to guys. Like I've talked to the players who have trained here before. That's an advantage. Yeah. So we'll see. But then I look at those moves, don't like. But the Podkolzin move is like a grand slam home run because not only has the player panned out way more than a fourth rounder ever would, and you actually got that fourth rounder back when you traded Vander Kane away to free up cap space, but you signed him to a 2-year deal and he crushed it. And now he's entering his new contract at $2.9 million. You're like, he could crush that. for the next 3 seasons, right? And then by the time that deal's done, if he has a good year, by then Hyman and Nugent Hopkins and these other guys, their money's gone. So they'll have way more money to spend, right? The Kapanen deals worked out great, right? I really like the Murphy deal. I like it better if he signs, right? The Dickinson one could be really good if he signs. So there's good and bad with him, but I don't think there's enough bad to fire him because, what's a new guy going to do that comes in here that's going to be infinitely better?
Make better trades and do better on July 1st, for one. I just think that I'm not.
Well, Stan's only July 1st swing and miss was Mangiapane. That was the only one because they didn't do anything else.
Sorry, the guy Jeff Jackson had the July 1st last year. That was a total swing and a miss too.
Yeah.
So this regime has blown the last two pretty severely, right? The last two July 1st, which is kind of the way a really good team caps themselves off, is on July 1st, and they've chucked away a couple of July 1st. Listen, I don't, at this stage in the Oilers' arc, to bring in a new GM and start it all again, I don't think it makes sense. So I don't think they should fire Stan Bowman. I think Stan Bowman's work we should be talking about firing Stan Bowman. You're way more patient, Jay, than me, right? The Jerry trade might get better later. That Jerry trade was made for today, and it stinks today. Who cares what it does later? He blew it this year, right? That trade was awful, full stop. So Mangiapane.
Wait, sorry. Breaking news. The Toronto Maple Leafs just won the draft lottery.
No.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for them. They need a break.
Oh, man.
Anyway, you're more patient than me.
The conspiracy theorists are going to love this. They just announced. And so who are they interviewing right now? Matt Sundin.
Well, of course they are.
Not John Chaika, Matt Sundin.
Anyway, good for the Leafs. I mean, they need something good to happen there. And I don't know, remember, the Leafs don't have their first round draft pick now for the next 2 seasons, and that's a guarantee. I believe that neither are top 10 protected if they were to take their pick this season. Am I correct on that? I believe I'm like 99% on that.
Let me double check. I think you are correct because now Boston will now get their first
year, and then the year after Philly gets it, and I believe that because Philly got pushed back a year, any protections come off of it. So I'm going forward saying it's a good thing they got number 1 overall this year because they don't get a first round pick the next 2 years. So good for them.
Unless they trade away guys between now and then.
Yeah, they don't get their own first round pick the next 2 years, which is probably going to be the best that they're ever going to get their hands on, and they don't have it. So that impedes a bit of a rebuild when you don't have any first round picks. Anyhow, good for the Leafs, man. Good for them.
So sorry to interrupt you. I just thought
that's okay. That's okay. Anyway, you're more patient than me. I'm not willing to settle and say, well, he got a middle 6 winger and he made a good sign, a free waiver wire pickup in Kapanen. Sure, those turned out great, but those are table scraps, right? The meat and potatoes, Stan Bowman hadn't done a very good job on.
Yeah. I look at the Oilers. So you're saying then you'd fire Stan Bowman. Is that what you're saying?
I know. I said to you before, I wouldn't fire him because I don't want that much tumult in my organization right now. I don't want to turn the whole thing over. If I fire my GM, he might want to fire a coach. Then I got to get new scouts. It's a huge deal when you fire your GM. If Edmonton, let's see what goes on with McDavid here. Stan Bowman gets to ride it out through the next couple of years, right? If he finds success, he stays. If he doesn't, he goes, whatever. I'm not changing my top guy right now in this stage of the organization. But I am saying to you, am I happy with the work Stan Bowman's done so far? Not a chance. No.
Okay. What do you think then is priority number 1 for the Oilers this offseason?
Well, I would say priority number 1 is it has everything to do with defensive hockey. So does that mean signing Connor Murphy and maybe Dickinson? Is that priority number 1 because they're both defensive type players? That could be, Jay. I would say that's a good place to start. They're not getting a fantastic goalie. They're not getting one of the top guys. So they got to be way better defensively. I guess I'd say to you, who is their goalie going to be? Jari and who? Are you going to war with Jari and Ingram?
They might be, Spec. I was looking at the free now, unless you're going to make a trade, but there's really no goalies in the free agent market that are like, oh, wow, this guy's a great one. So,
well, like you got to figure that out quick because obviously you can negotiate with Ingram now. But do we really think that is Ingram and Jari? Are we going forward with that? Are we happy with that as a goaltending tandem? If you're doing that, I'll tell you what, you better shore up your defensive play something fierce here. I think either of those guys can win you some games if you play properly defensively. But the way they played against Anaheim, they need Ilya Sorokin, and he might not even win for
them. Yeah, no, hey, they got to play better team defense. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that at all.
How do we get there? How do they get there? Does that mean
it's between
coaching thing?
Coaching's part of it, yes. But the Oilers played pretty good defense in previous years. Wasn't like that a massive. You got to commit to it. And even both their leaders admitted they weren't good enough as a team defensively. Can't just blame one coach. The coach can have the greatest defensive system in the world. If you don't want to go in there and commit to playing it and stop with fancy dance passes and turn it, because no coach says, hey, guys, let's enter the zone and now do a blind back pass. Yeah, let's put that. So it does, like this constant wanting to blame the coach. Oh, coach has got to put some system in him. How's he going to do it? Ask anybody who's ever coached. You played sports, Spec. Hey, Spec, I don't want you to give up a home run. Okay, coach. Next inning, you gave up a home run. Well, clearly the coach is terrible, right?
Damn coach.
The players are 90% responsible for what happens in the game. They are.
Yeah, fair enough. So that has that. However, that pans out this summer, they need to buttress their ability to be the team we're talking about here, because defense wins championships. Everybody knows it. That's how it works. And this team needs to be able to kill penalties and defend better. And they got to change their whole attitude towards it. And I can't believe that this long into the Oilers, project or program or arc or whatever, we're still talking about this. I can't believe that the guys on this team that are all veterans were still saying, we really got to hunker down if we're going to win defensively. Are you kidding me? Like, where you been?
Yeah. Well, I think that, I do agree that they probably took last year's regular season a bit for granted, Spec. And I honestly believe that you look up every day and you wake up and you're like, we're 2 points out of first. We're at 1 point. Like,
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
There was no urgency to be like, holy God, we're 8 points, 10 points out. We got to freaking get going here. And I'm not saying that that's right. I still think it's a problem. But I think if we're looking at human nature, naturally humans, we're all inherently lazy. If you look at it, we'll try to take the shortcut if we can. Right now, there's some people who go, Gregor, I never do. And I'm like, okay, great. You're the superhero who never does. But lots of people will do it. Right. And so, and it wasn't like you're purposely doing it, but the urgency to have to, oh my God, we got to win 4 or 5 in a row to get back in. It was never there.
No, fair. We went in that dressing room every time after they had a 2-game winning streak that didn't turn into 3. And everybody was.
How many times did they say, Spec? Oh, come on, we don't know. And then at the end of the year, they all talk.
It's a big deal.
That just pisses me off. Like, don't tell me to my face that it doesn't matter. And then at the end of the year, say, well, yeah, it was a real problem. You just didn't want to admit it was a problem. Well, maybe admit it's a problem.
Yeah.
We all know it's a problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Connor McDavid said in his exit interviews that somebody asked him, it might have been you even, about how the other series had a lot more vitriol and guys are pushing and shoving and fighting, and the Oilers weren't. And he said, it's okay to get frustrated. It's okay to have some emotion. This team has been fairly emotionless, and they took pride in that for a long time, that they don't go, there's no highs, there's no lows, every game's the same, all that blah, blah, blah. And you know what? Maybe a little emotion wouldn't hurt this team, because they sure look bored with themselves all season. Maybe a kid like Doc's going to come in and get a few line brawls going that might pique some interest to some of these old guys here and get them going. I don't know, but it can't be what happened last year, because it was a very docile, boring, middle of the pack year.
The San Jose Sharks just went from number 9 to number 2 in the draft lottery.
Or Vancouver. Vancouver's 3.
The Canucks now, the best they can be is 3. Then you got the Calgary Flames have dropped out of the top 5 again, it looks like, for them, because they've dropped Toronto, so they're down to 6 unless they can win the third one. So it is
there's 3 draws now.
Well, Vancouver's 3rd now in the draft lottery. So,
but is there another draw to come?
I thought there was one. Maybe
there's only 2.
but maybe it's only 2 now. You could be right. There used to be 3. Maybe I'm dreaming. So either way, then Vancouver's 3rd. So that team has no luck in lotteries. So
you know what? I don't know
good
that
things happen to good people. Bad things happen to bad people.
Yeah. I'm looking at the list of the top 5 guys, and there's some small wingers up there that I don't know. I'm not sure about those guys. It's not a year where there's a super stud. There's no Celebrini going on here. There's no Bedard going on here. Gavin McKenna, they list him at 6 foot 170, which means he's probably 5'10", 166, and he's a winger. So, I'm not telling you he won't play or he won't be good, but I'm sure inclined to look at a super stud defenseman like Verhoff with his size and skill. If it's between him and a winger, there's lots of wingers. You can always get wingers, man.
I wouldn't be so quick to write him off, but we'll see. We shall see.
Well, how about all these crazy press conferences going on lately? The media is in the news more than the news is in the news, man.
Yeah. Wow. I got my own opinion. I have no problem asking hard questions. I still think there's a way to ask a question. All right. I don't know if I'd call someone a liar and a fraud when he's sitting right there and not say it to him. That's just me. But everybody's different.
Yeah, that was pretty tough.
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with the question, but then I would direct it to the guy that you're calling the fraud. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair. And the kids in Barrie were
Although I will say their coach, to his credit, came out today and admitted it was all on me. I was terrible. It was a bad decision. So own it. At least he owned it. So
he owned it. Yeah. For sure. Hey, listen, and it's funny, like I always say, Jay, like our job's not like a dentist. Like we have got one of those jobs that everyone thinks they can do. And I'm not saying it's so hard that a lot of people can't do it. It's not what I'm telling you. But we have one of those jobs. Like no one ever goes up to an engineer at a party and says, look, when you're building a bridge, this is how you got to do it. Right. Yeah. But everybody comes up to Spec and Jason and says, listen, the Oilers, here's what they got to do. Like that's our business. Everyone knows everything about our business, and they know how to ask better questions than us, and they know how to have stronger opinions than us. And you know what? Sometimes they're right, but it's what we live with. When you're Steve Simmons, you ask that question, you better sit back, man, because there's a million people think they'd asked it better than you.
Yeah. Fair. Spec, have yourself a great day.
All right, Jay, take care, man.
There you go. That is the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. So here's the revamped order for the draft. Toronto Maple Leafs, number 1. San Jose Sharks, number 2. Vancouver 3, Chicago 4, Rangers 5, Flames drop to 6. Seattle is 7, Winnipeg's 8, Florida is 9, and then Nashville stays at 10, St. Louis 11, New Jersey 12, Islanders 13, Columbus 14, Detroit 15, and Washington 16. So there you. Well, it's St. Louis has Detroit's pick, so they are technically 15th. So there you have it. Quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. It feels good to know your fund goes further at home. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at customfloorsinc.ca.
Increase resistance to stress and support memory enhancement with new Roots Herbals Ashwagandha. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month. To ensure this product is right for you, always read and follow the label.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product, or breakfast burrito with hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5 plus taxes. Available until 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com. The tents are up and the deals are out. The Brick's biggest sale of the season is on now. Take up to 60% off clearance items in the tents. Sofas start at $3.99 and save up to 50% on select mattresses. Get a sofa, coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and dining set, all for less than $1,500. Only at the Brick's tent sale. See in store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Debt can take over your life. The stress, the constant worry, it can feel like you're drowning. When people come to see me, they're often anxious and feeling hopeless. But when I explain how I can help them get out of debt, those feelings melt away. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I will create a personalized debt relief plan so you can move forward with confidence. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
What's out for your mind?
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$5:34. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Hanley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. If you missed it, hey, if you feel lucky, maybe if you're a fan of the Buds, you might want to get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Lotto Max tonight, $65 million. And you know what? Maybe if you're a fan of the Flames or the Canucks, your teams can never win in the lottery. All they do is lose, unfortunately. Maybe it's your chance to win. Maybe it's your turn. Get your tickets tonight. $65 million. Lotto Max, 8 Max Millions, and 65 prizes of $100K at playalberta.ca. Lots going on in the NHL as we're going to welcome in Derek Van Diest to the show as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Silent Ice Center. And guess what? Gene Simmons, the legend, the tongue, some people call him, coming to Silent Ice Center. So get your tickets at go to silentice.com. You can see it online. Get your tickets for Gene Simmons, and they just went on sale, and they're probably going to sell out fast. Remember, it's a very intimate venue there. It's going to be an awesome concert if you like him in an intimate venue. So check it out. Derek Van Diest from NHL.com joins us. DVD, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Not as good as the Maple Leafs right now, but hey, they win the draft lottery. Now we'll see what they do with it. Again, let the retool begin, DVD. Let the retool begin.
Yeah, you had a guy like Gavin McKenna to your hockey team. Yeah, suddenly you're kind of now you're talking about, wow, okay, maybe things aren't as dire as they thought they were going to be in Toronto. Yeah, this is a huge chip for the new management team in Toronto. John Chayka and Matt Sundin, and they get the first overall pick fall into their lap. You can't write stuff like that. It's unbelievable. I feel bad for the Canucks because the Canucks are hoping to land that pick. And so now suddenly Toronto has, I think it's their third first overall pick. They drafted Austin Matthews was with the one a few years ago, and now are they going to get another? Wendell Clark was the third one. Yeah, that's right, Wendell Clark. So Austin Matthews and now probably Gavin McKenna. So it's going to be interesting to see here how they deal with this. I think that might kind of quell the talk that Matthews may not come back next year. I think he looks at that and goes, wait a minute here. We might be able to expedite this in quite a hurry. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that pick.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Hey, it's and then San Jose moves up to number 2. So good for the Sharks. A lot of, I think they'll probably take a defenseman there, just because when you look, they got Michael Misa, they got Will Smith, they've got Celebrini. I think they would be looking at a defenseman there. Just because, right? Hey, I guess it all depends what Toronto does, right? I still think it's probably going to be McKenna, but you've got Ivan Stenberg, of course. You've got lots of other good players in this draft for sure.
Oh, right? Maybe they go off the board, right? They think outside the box over there now. So maybe they look at some numbers and they think, okay, maybe Gavin McKenna's not the number one guy. Maybe someone else is the number one guy, right? Like maybe they're just thinking differently than everyone else in hockey is right now. And who knows what direction they go? Who knows what they can come up with?
Yeah, like Keaton Verhoff, of course, is a top D-man. There's Albert Smits is a top D-man. There's Carson Carrolls. So there's some D-man if the Sharks want to take a D-man at number 2. So interesting. The Oilers, of course, the Sharks own their first rounder, which I think now is going to be 19th from the Jake Wallman trade a few years ago. So that's Sharks will have those 2 picks. We'll see what they do with them. Meanwhile, the Oilers, what do you think on the Oilers DVD? And do you see any significant changes coming in management or coaching in your eyes?
I don't. I don't see significant changes because if they, like we were talking about this the other day, what is it? 10 coaches have been here, 11 coaches. Give or take those guys that were here just temporarily type thing. Since Daryl Cates took over the team, there's been 5 or 6 general managers. Like the turnover at some point, I think you need some stability in the organization. And yes, the team didn't do as well as they did. Yes, Stan Bowman probably made some mistakes, but they brought him in to kind of keep the window open. And if after one season you're like, he's not going to do it, and you make management changes or you make coaching changes, to me that seems like a desperation move. Like give these guys an opportunity. I know the window is closing quickly here. I know they have the two years to kind of make something happen, but I think they know that. And I don't know if you want to go right back to the starting point with a new coach or new GM. I know there is some noise and chatter about that, but that's a road the Oilers have gone down plenty of times before, and it hasn't worked out. So I think you stay the course. You go out there and you say, hey, the roster wasn't good enough. Let's improve the roster. And if you trust these guys to kind of improve the roster, and then you go with them, because I think right now, I don't think it's a good time to try and bring in a new management team. I think you got to go with these guys. These are the guys you brought in. These are the guys you thought would keep McDavid and Draisaitl here. These are the guys you thought would keep the window open. And I think you just got to stick with them.
Yeah. No, I do think, I don't believe the whole coaching staff is going to return. I think there'll be some changes on the coaching staff. I think we will see some moves potentially inside the management side. Now, Bill Scott, my understanding, is he's very on the short list. He's been interviewed twice for the opening in Nashville. And if he gets it, there'll be some changes. I think Callie Larson is somebody who I could see getting promoted from within the organization this year. Behind the scenes, he did a lot of work, and he's been kind of, a lot of people in the organization have noticed it. So I could see some moves there. Like Mark Stewart, I know was upset with Paul Coffey returning and him getting demoted. I'd be surprised if I see him return. Like you basically got fired for your own job, right? Like I'd be surprised.
No, and I think the Oilers could use someone with some NHL coaching experience or head coaching experience behind the bench. I know like losing Glenn Gullickson was a big loss for this team. He brought a lot to them. And then I think they had a lot of inexperience behind the bench. And I think that might have been one of the reasons where they thought, well, bringing Paul Coffey in will help. So I think if you do bring, like a veteran coach that has been around, that knows how to be a head coach and that can help out Chris Knobloch in situations, can help out in different situations, I think that would help. I know that they went with a younger staff and obviously it didn't work out, but I think you need maybe more voices in that room, in that staff room, to do different things. So yeah, I agree with you. There will be a management or some changes with the coaching side. And you're right. It's tough when someone deems you're not doing your job good enough. So we have to bring someone else to kind of help do your job. The writing's on the wall there, I think, but I don't think Paul Coffey's coming back for another tenure here. I think he's like, I put in my time. I helped you guys out as much as you can. I have no interest in being behind the bench. So they're going to have to find someone else that's out there that may help them out behind the bench.
Yeah, I think that is that's very possible, right? Like I think experience on the coaching staff definitely can help you, no question. I think that's what they need. What about goaltending? Do you think they run back Jari and Ingram? There's not a lot of free agents available. Is there a trade? What do you think happens between the pipes?
Well, I think you almost have to bring back Ingram unless he gets a deal somewhere else that kind of blows the doors off. I think you have to bring him back. He's got to be part of your tandem. Now, I don't know if that involves Jari. I don't know what you do with Jari. You came in here, it didn't work out. He's still got 2 years left at $5 million or $5, whatever it is. What do you do with that now? You're kind of handcuffed with that. The market for goalies probably summer won't be great. Every team's looking for a goalie. It's not just the Oilers that are looking for it. It's 32 teams in the league, and I'll make an argument that maybe there's 15 legit number ones in the league. So everyone's looking for kind of those guys. But I do think that, are you going to run Jerry and Ingram again? That's a good question. I do think Ingram, you need to bring him back, but you're going to have to pay him because if Elton's agent's like, hey, wait a minute, this guy was your starting goalie last year. So he's got to make some decent, like you can't have the backup making $5 million and my guy making $2 million if he's going to be the starting goalie. So those are going to be interesting conversations. But yeah, I think it starts there. Like, what do you do with the goaltending situation? They took a swing, and you can say that they missed with Jari. Now, do they think that he can come back and be better next year? I think those are conversations that obviously they're going to have in those exit meetings. But yeah, I don't know. Like the people here have been clamoring and clamoring. Get yourself a number one guy. Get yourself a number one guy, and you may have to be bold to try and go get a number one guy. Minnesota has 2 guys. Maybe you can pry one of those guys out of there. Who knows? Maybe you can look at that at another team. Look at another team's backup that maybe doesn't get a chance to play as much as he probably should. Try and bring him in here. I don't know, but they have to do something. Like if they run back these same 2 guys and it doesn't work out, then you're like, well, here we go again. Like we've done it again.
Yeah, I wonder if they take a page out of Colorado because Colorado switched their guys last season, lost in the first round, kept them both, had a better season this year. Jari's going to train here all summer. We'll work with their goalie coach who's right here. We'll be healthy. As far as Ingram's contract, I think he'll get a raise, but the reality is he doesn't have a long track record, so it's almost irrelevant what Jari's making. Because I'm not sold. Like next season's going to be a competition if they both come back to see who is. And I wonder if they bring in another third goalie. Who knows? Like will they go try to acquire a young guy? Right? Like what about Michael DiPietro? There's options there. It doesn't have to be Ingram. There's other options. I think they're kind of probably locked into Jari just from cap wise and everything else. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see who the tandem is next year.
No, for sure, and and that's one of the things that I think the team within the team itself wants to see. What are we going to run here? What are we going to go with? We got rid of a popular guy. We brought another guy in that didn't work out, and luckily for Ingram did play well enough to kind of take him into the playoffs. But that's been the question number one here in this market for a long, long time since Dwayne Rosen left. Really, is trying to get a number one goalie in here that can kind of carry the ball for 3 or 4 or 5 years.
DVD, great stuff, buddy. Have yourself a great day. We'll talk playoffs with you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
There you go. That is Derek Van Diest. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical, lighting, and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Everything is going to be okay. If your debt has you feeling like you're in a free fall, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal allows you to eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Faber, we'll tackle your debt.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Throttle, open her up and get rolling to Harley-Davidson of Edmonton's open house Saturday, May 9th. Enter to win a new Harley-Davidson motorcycle and get in on the giveaways and door prizes. Come check out a huge selection of new and pre-owned bikes, riding gear, Harley t-shirts, and more. Don't miss it. This Saturday, May 9th at Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Kent family owned and operated since 1980. Details at hdedmonton.com.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Curious to Low Tide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
This summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit ProSolutionsInc.ca to schedule your service today.
Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
McValue meals are here. Get the McDs you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
O'Hanlon Paving is looking for finished skid steer operators, finished grader operators, Class 1 drivers, and more to join their Edmonton Road Crew team. Bring your positive attitude and great work ethic to their job fair Friday, May 8th from 10 till 3. Visit o'hanlonpaving.com/careers.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$5:51. Welcome back as we recap a busy Tuesday. If you missed it, if you're in your vehicle, the Maple Leafs won the lottery. They now have the number 1 pick, and San Jose moved up from 9th to second. So the Leafs went from 5th to 1st, and San Jose went from 9th to 2nd, which means Vancouver, oh my God, is there a team with worse luck in the draft lottery than them? They dropped down from 1st, not only to 2nd, but to 3rd now. So we'll see what they do with the number 3 pick. The Flames drop from 4 to 6. So there you go. Let the retool begin in Toronto. Retool. Or will it be a rebuild? What's it going to be? We shall see. Should be interesting to watch what happens. Also tonight, of course, you got NHL. There's a game you want to watch, man. Game 1 of Minnesota and Colorado was unreal. And that game's getting going at around 6:10 Edmonton time. Tonight, you got the Jays game. Due to some technical difficulties, it won't be on the radio tonight, but don't worry, all the rest of the Jays games will be on. So our apologies for that one tonight. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a lovely Tuesday evening. Tomorrow, we got more football talk, some hockey, some NHL, and much, much more. Have yourselves a great Tuesday evening. As we get to the comment now, the Sports 1440 update brought to you by Hire Good. For professional property services you can feel good about, get Hire Good. Site cleanup, debris removal, seasonal maintenance. Visit hiregood.ca. Hire Good. Stable jobs create stable lives. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, Toronto Maple Leafs will be selecting first overall in the 2026 NHL entry draft, followed by the Sharks, Canucks, Blackhawks, Rangers, Flames, Kraken, Jets, Panthers, and Preds, rounding out the top 10. Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse heading to Switzerland to represent Canada at the World Hockey Championship on the ice tonight. Avs and Wild from Denver. Puck drop in about 10 minutes time. Avs lead that series 1-9 in the association. Pistons leading the Cavaliers 41-28 in the second quarter. Later tonight, it's Game 1, Thunder Lakers from OKC. Tip-off 6:30. Major League Baseball, Jays in action. Tied up the Rays at 2 in the top of the 5th. Elsewhere, Red Sox lead the Tigers 10-2 in the 4th. Phillies up on the Athletics 1-0. Marlins at home trail the Orioles 5-4. And the Twins lead the Nationals 6-1. Later tonight, Astros, Dodgers, White Sox, and Anaheim Mariners taking on the Braves. The Pirates in the desert to meet the Diamondbacks. Giants, Padres. You also got the Brewers in cards. Mets, Rockies postponed due to weather in the area. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next at Fox Sports Radio, live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carius on Sports 1440. You can watch at YouTube, Sports 1440 AM. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.